Steve Johnson. Midfield. Captain.
That's Vieira! Sheringham! Goal for Arsenal! Turn towards Adams! Comes the goal! Ashmichael has saved it! It's a wonderful run from Giggs!
United underlined the fact for most of us, I think, that they were going to win the lot last season. And here we go again, face to face, the two teams that have dominated English football over the last decade. Just as we had at the start of last season, this time around the order's different, of course. United are here as champions, Arsenal as a result of finishing as runners-up last season. We're at Wembley for the 1-to-1 Charity Shield between Arsenal and Manchester United. It's live from Sky Sports, the home of English football, and that is now official. It's real summer holiday weather, but we're not complaining about that. Some of us have been waiting months for this, ever since they took the goalposts down in the schools and on the playing fields last May. We are back, and what a way to start as well. As I said, 1-2 last season, 1-2 the previous season. Will it be the same order this year, or are the champions just watching this afternoon somewhere down the road in West London? Our guest this afternoon is Lou Macari. What do you think, Louis? Same 1-2-3 this year? Same order, perhaps?
I don't know about the same order, Richard, but definitely the same 1-2-3. Which order? That remains to be seen.
Plus, maybe Leeds United?
Maybe, but for me, they're a bit young. I mean, a promising team, up-and-coming team, but I just look at them and I think not experienced enough to go the whole road. You know, 38 games. It takes a real championship team to be able to go the distance and actually win the championship. I just don't see Leeds as that type of team at the moment.
How on earth did Manchester United follow last season? What is there left?
Well, they can't follow last season. They're not going to be the FA Cup to start with. So that's a problem in going for the treble, obviously. But last season, I honestly believe it was a one-off. You know, we were at the game at Villa Park. Great save from the goalkeeper. Or they wouldn't have been at Wembley for the cup final. We were in Barcelona together, and I mean, we'd written them off, and all of a sudden, in the last couple of minutes, again after some wonderful saves from Schmeichel to keep them in the game, they went on to win the European Cup. That can't happen again, obviously. You've got to accept that you've had your fair share of luck, you know, to win any competition. And although they were magnificent last season, they did have their fair share of luck, and to expect the same again, or anywhere near the same again, I just don't think it's possible.
Because this time last year, United had spent, or were in the throes of spending, some £28 million, but it's been a quiet summer by their standards. Though you mentioned Peter Schmeichel, he has gone now, of course. The replacement on a free under the Bosman ruling from Aston Villa, Mark Bosnich. Otherwise, the rest of the summer, Alex Ferguson's holiday. Of course, there was a trip to Buckingham Palace to pick up the knighthood. But everything seems to have clicked so easily and so quickly back into gear for them, almost as though they haven't had a holiday.
Well, that's, you know, they've been away to Australia in the Far East, and they've had 4 games there, undefeated. Although the opposition wasn't great, I watched all the games, but they were undefeated. New goalkeeper, and it was a big test for him. They scored 7 goals, didn't concede any. No injuries, so they've come back ready to go again for the new season with everyone in place. That's except the captain, Roy Keane, who is in a bit of limbo at the moment. You know, he hasn't signed a contract, which I would imagine would be very worrying for the Man United support. But I'd be quite confident that he would, and you know, wouldn't want to leave Old Trafford.
Are there others to come in? do you sense?
Mark Wilson, he played out in...
Not at the club. That Alex Ferguson might go out to the side.
I think we know Alex well enough by now, Richard, that he doesn't rush out and buy players just for the sake of filling in, positions. He makes sure that they are the right player, both what they're going to do for them on the pitch and the character they've got. They don't want any, players like Anelka, and I wasn't going to mention him, and you told me not to mention him.
We'll briefly talk about Anelka, and then that'll be it.
Yeah.
For the rest of the season, I trust.
That's another plus in Alex's favour. He's very good at that. He weighs up the character. I think he investigates him like a private detective before he brings him to Old Trafford. And over the years, there's not been very many problem players at Old Trafford.
A bit more movement at Highbury this summer than there has been at Old Trafford. Out has gone Diawara, as we thought. Most predicted that when he joined them midway through last season. Steve Bold, of course, has gone to Sunderland to join their fight to stay in the Premiership. And Remy Gard has retired. Stephen Hughes, of course, on loan at Fulham for 3 months, and that'll become a permanent transfer. In Oleg Luzhny, the Ukrainian, Stefan Maltz in the middle there, and Silvinho. But nobody to replace, should he leave, and I think most expect that now, Anelka up front. Is that the big problem that he has?
Well, that'll be a problem for them, obviously. I mean, Bergkamp, if he's missing at all throughout the season, they don't really have a recognised striker, but Anelka's got to go. I mean, there's no mistake about that. I'm quite sure if you interviewed 100% of the Arsenal supporters, 99% would say get him out the door. I think he seems to have forgotten how he's got where he got. He's got there because of his teammates. He's got there obviously because of his own ability. He's also got there because he's been made welcome at Highbury by the support. The manager's looked after him. But when there comes a chance to get a few quid, all those people...
We're all bored rigid with it. I don't think there's any opinion other than that. But what about inside the club? How will Arsenal react to the ongoing saga? Will it bother players?
I think it'll bother the real professionals in there because they'll want them out the door. I mean, if you interview Tony Adams today, he would say, get him out the door, he shouldn't be at Arsenal, and good riddance. But and that's the way it should be. There's no room for any players like that, Richard. They can disrupt your club, and again, that's one of the secrets at Old Trafford. There's nobody there. It doesn't happen.
And this now is officially an Anelka-free zone. No more mention of the former Nicolas Anelka. We're at Wembley Stadium. It's Arsenal and Manchester United today, live here on Sky Sports 2. And after the break, we'll get all the team news as these two go head-to-head again.
Gavin Griffiths, defender.
Lee Gavin, defender.
We're at Wembley Stadium in glorious, baking hot sunshine. I'm not sure it's football weather, but it's a beautiful day to be standing watching football, and it's just very, very good to have football back. Reminder of the great choice of live sport that we have today across our 3 Sky Sports channels. On one now, it's cricket, Super Cup final between Yorkshire and Gloucestershire. We're live from Wembley here on Sky Sports 2, counting down to the FA Charity Shield between Arsenal and Manchester United. And over on Sky Sports 3 now, it's live Superbikes, round 9 of the World Championship from Brands Hatch. The team news in a moment or so, just getting that sorted out. In the meantime, Arsenal and Manchester United at the start of a brand new season, and we've got the 2 teams that we would want here today as well, haven't we?
Well, the games between them last season, Richard, were fantastic. I mean, the semi-final at Villa Park, I think we remarked on the night we hadn't seen a better game for a long, long time. It was end-to-end stuff. There was instants galore. I'm not saying that...
I know you left there still unconvinced that they could win the 3, but was that, looking back now, was that the night when you think, well, yeah, then, that really is when we should have all started to believe, as I said, that was the time United could win?
Well, that was the first time I believed it. When Schmeichel saved that penalty a minute from the end, and then Ryan Giggs went up the other end and scored the winning goal, I thought, yep, it's going to happen.
And if you're a Manchester United fan, the rest, of course, is glorious history. We've got the teams. Here's Nick Collins.
Well, Richard, plenty's been said about who's not going to be playing this afternoon. Remember, Arsenal are missing the likes of David Seaman, Dennis Bergkamp, Tony Adams, Mark Overmars, Nicolas Anelka, of course. United, well, they're without Roy Keane and Ryan Giggs, of course, and Gary Neville, but there's still plenty of talent on view this afternoon, I promise you. Let's take a look at the lineup, starting with Arsenal. And, of course, with David Seaman having that calf injury, Alex Manninger has come into the side. No Tony Adams, of course, so there's a chance then for Gilles Grimondi in the back four for Arsenal. A debut for the Brazilian Silvino, £4 million signing during the summer. And of course, up front, in the absence of Anelka and Bergkamp, well, Kanu, the Nigerian who did so well at the end of last season, and Freddie Ljungberg, who actually scored against Manchester United for Arsenal way back in September last season. So he'll have happy memories of playing United. Just a word about the Arsenal bench. 2 goalkeepers have been named on that bench. The experienced John Lukic and Stuart Naylor. That's because, reliably informed by Pat Rice, the assistant manager, there just aren't enough bodies to go around, and they wanted to give Stuart Naylor a bit of experience of the big time. So he's on the bench along with the Ukrainian Oleg Luzhny, who played here at Wembley against Arsenal for Dynamo Kiev in the European Champions League. Christopher Wray's there, and another new signing, the German Stefan Maltz. So Arsenal will hope they've got the strength in depth. On to Manchester United, and of course Mark Bosnich comes into a goal in place of Peter Schmeichel. No Gary Neville, as we mentioned, so Phil Neville, his brother, will take over. We've got Henning Berg in the back four because Ronnie Johnson has still got a problem with his knee. Moving into midfield, well, of course, they've got David Beckham playing, so they'll be very pleased with that. Scholes and Butt, so plenty of experience, but Jordi Cruyff gets a rare run out. Jordi Cruyff a chance to stake a place in the team early on. Up front, the 53-goal pairing of Dwight York and Andy Cole. And among the substitutes for Manchester United, well, super sub Teddy Sheringham and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the men who scored those goals in the European Cup final. Well, I've been reliably informed by the Wembley ground staff that temperatures out here at pitch level are now into the 90s. Let's hope the football can match the temperature. Richard.
It will. 2 fabulous teams. They've given us some top-class entertainment down the years. And as Louis was saying, who will ever forget the last time that they met? One of the great football matches, a night that you never forget where you were. It was one of those occasions, wasn't it? Arsenal stung by that. They gave it a real good go in the league, but never really recovered from that defeat. Their only defeat in 7 against Manchester United. This today, the 4th meeting at Wembley. The first, the 1979 FA Cup final. Arsenal won that by 3 goals to 2. The 2 central characters involved, Sir Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger. 9 games now. That was Fergie's most recent win. He won the first 2, but in betweens, Arsene Wenger was unbeaten in the 6 matches. He's got a good record against him. Just watching that game, Lou, the impact that Peter Schmeichel had on that night, and the run-in as well for Manchester United, is that the significant area this year where there will be some concern until Mark Bosnich replaces the big keeper?
That's why I wouldn't commit myself, Richard, that Man United will win the championship. Major part
You think
of it,
that's significant?
I do. I think a major part in it last year was Peter Schmeichel. There was a period in the season where his form dipped a little bit, and 1 or 2 people foolishly were writing him off, but he came back, and towards the end of the season, when it counted most, was absolutely magnificent. We saw there the saves he had in the semi-final. Those other saves, I remember one just on half-time when Petit went right through with just Schmeichel to beat, and he came out and stopped it with his legs. And then in Barcelona as well, there were saves that were crucial. He has been a fantastic goalkeeper, and it has been quoted that he has been the best goalkeeper Manchester United have ever had, and I do believe that.
Some players never actually come to terms with playing for Manchester United, and we can
right.
remember a few examples. Some take time, Stam and Pallister, for instance. Some love it.
Yeah.
Dwight York, yourself, you enjoyed it. What about Mark Bosnich? Is there an average time that he will require in order to become a Manchester United player?
Well, he's quite a confident lad, so you wouldn't think so, but maybe that confidence is not a real confidence he's got. Maybe he's a little bit inhibited. But we'll find out as the season kicks off, and unfortunately, if he does make 1 or 2 mistakes and United lose 1 or 2 games, then to recover from that is difficult. I've watched him on the pre-season tour. I've seen all the games in Australia and China, and he's looked quite good. But the opposition hasn't been great. Today is the first big test for him.
Today is Wembley, the 1-to-1 Charity Shield. It's Arsenal and Manchester United. It's that sort of weather as well. That's perfect, actually, for what we're enduring here, but thoroughly enjoying nonetheless. They did too. What a year it was for Manchester United, and when we come back, we'll be looking back on a fantastic season for the Reds from Old Trafford.
Gavin Griffiths, defender.
Lee Gavin, defender.
We're at Wembley Stadium for the FA Charity Shield between Arsenal and Manchester United, just as we were this time last year. Then the Gunners won it. What of this afternoon, I wonder? And there's live sport all afternoon across our 3 Sky Sports channels. It's cricket over on 1 right now, the Super Cup final between Yorkshire and Gloucestershire. Here, as I mentioned, at Wembley, it's the FA Charity Shield, Arsenal and Manchester United. And over on Sky Sports 3 now, it's the Superbikes, round 9 of the World Championship from Brands Hatch. I know we've spent a lot of time talking about Manchester United, but understandably, really, after the season that they had last year, 3 trophies, they really had to earn them as well, because nothing came easy. As the Premiership race entered the last lap in May, United were the first to strike.
It's a lovely ball for Scholes. York is there, the ball's run into the net. And it looks like it'll be an own goal. Stowe, nicely played by Aston Villa. And it's brought an equaliser. Julian Joachim. And here goes Becker. Brilliant.
So Arsenal knew that a win was a must when they met Derby County at Highbury on a Super Sunday.
Parlour. Great movement by Anelka, 1-0 to Arsenal.
They both had tough midweek games. United went to Anfield to play Liverpool.
Keane. They played their way around McManaman. Manchester United beautifully. And it's led to the opening goal from Dwight York. A goal of real quality with Beckham again the supplier. Oh, Blomqvist. It's got to be a penalty. Manchester United lead at Anfield by 2-0. Good movement by Patrick Berger. They're in behind here. Leonardson. Penalty. Jamie Redknapp. Bangs it past Schmeichel. Liverpool 1. Manchester United 2.
And there was a nasty twist in the tail for United.
Ince. 2-2.
Meanwhile, Arsenal were having a far easier time at Tottenham.
And there's runners through the centre. One of them's Petit. Anelka goes through the centre. He's away from the defenders. 2-0. 5 minutes to go. Arsenal go searching for a goal that would wrap it up. It's Kanu. That's wrapped it up.
It was a win that kept them on top. United were 3 points behind, but had that crucial game in hand. The goal difference was almost identical. The Riverside was United's next port of call. 1 goal decided it.
No one near Nicky Butt, who wants to put it back in towards Sheringham. He looks for Dwight York, who looks for the back of the net and finds it.
The Gunners, unbeaten in 19 league games now, took on Leeds at Elland Road.
Kewell. Hasselbank trying to stay onside in the centre. Kewell looking for the cross.
So United were in the driving seat when they went to Blackburn the following night.
Becker. Another brilliant cross. Kicks hit the post.
A battling point for Rovers, but they were down. For United, it was the difference between the top 2. They knew that a win at home to Tottenham would earn them their 5th Premiership crown in 7 years. For a while, though, there was a shock on the cards.
Oh, Ferdinand's got a foot to it. He scored.
At the same time, the Gunners were throwing everything at Villa, but the breakthrough here wouldn't come.
Vieira's shot. Fine save by Oakes.
At Old Trafford, Spurs finally buckled.
Beckham. It's in.
Early in the second half, Cole nudged them in front.
It's Andy Cole. Can he get it over Walker?
That was bad news at Highbury, where Kanu scored, but it was too little, too late.
Completely missed. Kanu forced it in. The last champions of the 20th century, Manchester United.
A A week later, it was Wembley Stadium. The double was on for a third time.
Sheringham. Scholes. For Sheringham! Solskjaer. Sheringham can tee up for Scholes! 2-0!
That was 2, and 4 days later they made it 3. 500,000 people turned out in Manchester to salute a remarkable team. 63 games in all last season for Alex Ferguson, 12 major trophies now in 9 seasons. The last defeat his team suffered, 1998, December the 19th, at Old Trafford, 3-2 by Middlesbrough. That's 33 games now since that they've gone unbeaten. The pre-season games aside, of course, 34 today would equal a club record set between September 93 and March 94. They have unbeaten this calendar year. Amongst the goals, 128 in all, 53 for York and Cole. They failed to score in only 9 of the 63 matches last season. All that success and no time at all to dwell on it, it seems.
It passes really. I mean, once the season's over, you tend to forget about it and you start looking forward again. You know, that's what we're doing here. There's no point in looking back too much. We can all have great recollections of it, and there's many stories about what one person was doing when the final goal was scored in Barcelona, and the many great stories I've heard about it, and that will go on and on and on, and I think that's wonderful. The memories will always last. It was a fantastic achievement. You could never forget these things. But we have to move on, and we've got a big season ahead. You know, if you look at the tournaments we're going to be involved in, we've got to go to Monaco and play 4 games in 6 days at the start of the season. 3 league games and the Super Cup final in Monaco. Then we've got to go to Tokyo in November, and that's a trip and a half. And then we've got to travel to Brazil, and we've got to squeeze the Champions League programme in, and also the Premier League in. So it's a big season for us. It's going to be a lot of travel for the players, and they're not going to be at home a lot. And that's, you know, people forget these things. So we're now focusing on that. It's always special going to Wembley. People say, you know, the charity shows, they really matter. And I say, of course it matters. When you go to Wembley, it does matter. The place makes it an occasion, and occasions you always want to relish.
I think it was a huge achievement and a fantastic achievement, everybody would say that, and they had that little bit of, maybe a little bit more desire, a little bit more luck as well, especially in the championship and in the cup, because it was very, very close, and it was the right season for them, and but it is a tremendous achievement and a great achievement.
And yet when Arsenal played Manchester United, you only lost once in the 5 meetings between the two sides.
I think we were guilty of losing the championship because we didn't lose any game against Man United and Chelsea, who were the main contenders. And they never beaten us in the championship last year. That's why we had everything in our hands, but we dropped too many points at the start of the season against teams who didn't fight for the championship.
How big is the difference between Arsenal and Manchester United at the moment?
I don't think there's any difference among the top teams at all. Chelsea could have easily won, not easily because it's difficult, but Chelsea was in the best positions with 6 games to go for me, and so I don't think there's any difference. Just they dropped 1 or 2 points in the last minute, so there's no difference. And I think this season even it will be more tighter because the teams who are involved in the Champions League, if they go far, I don't think they have a chance to win the championship at all.
Lou Macari is with us this afternoon. So Alex Ferguson there talking about the number of challenges that lie ahead for his team. Arsene Wenger suggesting that there's too much on for them to retain the title. Does that mean Arsenal can pinch it?
Well, they can pinch it, Richard. That's them and Chelsea. I mean, Chelsea have got Sutton in now, alongside Zola.
But they've both got Champions League, presuming Chelsea qualify, of course. They've both got Champions League campaigns to pursue as well. It gets ever more difficult, doesn't it?
But I think Alex would be the first to admit there's not a great deal between those 3 sides. Whoever puts a good little run together, or whoever stays free of injuries, or whoever buys the right player, that could mean the difference between the championship and not winning the championship. That's why I mentioned to you earlier about Peter Schmeichel. That's my concern with the United. Can Mark Bosnich come in and win the games for them that Peter Schmeichel won?
If I gave you a choice now as a United fan, which I know you are, of everything they've got up for grabs, to pick one, what would it be?
FA Cup.
You'd like to be in the FA Cup,
Certainly wouldn't. No, the championship. I think if you win the championship, then you can say you are the best team in that country. You can win the FA Cup, you can win even the European Champions League, and there might be a little bit of luck attached to it. But when you go the championship road and you win more games than anybody else or pick up more points, you are the best team.
We are at Wembley Stadium, of course, not for much longer. The old place is about to come down. One thing that is irreplaceable as far as we're concerned, that is the voice of football, who I'm delighted to say joins us this afternoon alongside alongside Martin Tyler. Trevor and Martin, good afternoon to you.
That's very kind of you, Richard. We're going to talk about Nicolas Anelka. Some of you may have had Nicolas Anelka up to here and beyond, but I want to talk to Trevor about it as a managerial situation. Now, you had something similar in your friendly yesterday. Birmingham played Leeds, and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank has made some demands Anelka-like, and the fans have turned against him, it seems, at Leeds.
Well, not just the fans of Leeds, Martin. I think what was interesting that also the fans of Birmingham City also joined in. They were very much united. My feeling is that supporters all over the country are really sick to death of the antics of some of the, the top players. The ones that we're referring to this now, Anelka and Hasselbank. And really what Hasselbank has done is put Leeds in an impossible situation. His demands are impossible to meet. And eventually, I think it'll result in the same scenario as what's going to happen with Anelka. The player will get his wish. I believe that Anelka's on his way to Real Madrid. And I would think that down the road at Atletico, that's where Hasselbank will end up.
Well, it's going to be Kanu now taking on great responsibility up front in the absence of Anelka. I understand he was offered the chance to have the number 9 for his squad number for the season, but he's preferred to stay with number 25. And I think we're going to see more of him as a starter, Trevor, than we did over his 2 or 3 months at Highbury, where he was very grateful, incidentally, for the opportunity, unlike Monsieur Anelka.
Yeah, I think it won't stop Arsene Wenger is on the lookout for strengthening the forward line, but I think that this lad here is a very, very capable player. What surprises me, Martin, is he seems to have been around for so long. He's just 23 years of age, but a very, very talented player, exceptionally gifted. Receives the ball well into his feet and scored some spectacular goals last season. And I think that whereas last year he tended to fill in for Anelka and Bergkamp, I think now he's going to become a regular, and a very important season ahead for him.
Just a brief word on Manchester United today, and although they've got absentees, their side full of internationals.
Yeah. Well, they don't stop losing, do they? Don't stop winning, I should say. I think they've had a very, very good tour. Every game they've won, they haven't conceded goals. And despite the fact that without some big players today, it's still a very, very strong lineup.
In case you're wondering, Andy Gray is visiting one of Disney's Magic Kingdoms for the next few days. Richard, of course, has his own Magic Kingdom, the studio. Back to you.
And Trevor's hand obviously doesn't stop him taking part this afternoon. I'm delighted to say Trevor Francis and Martin Tyler in the commentary box. It's Arsenal against Manchester United, live here on Sky Sports 2. The first game of a brand new season on the home of English football. As I said earlier, that is now official as well. We are delighted to be back. The game comes next.
Gavin Griffiths, defender.
And one of the blackest days for Blackburn. They're out and they look as if they know it.
Praised by the critics.
Carlisle have saved themselves.
Gillette Soccer Saturday.
Johnny scored.
6 hours live with detailed previews, instant updates.
And that is a disgrace.
Plus the fastest results service on television.
You won't miss a single thing.
Jeff Stelling leads a panel of experts.
Sounds like a nail-biting finish, Rodney, is it? No.
The new series of Gillette Soccer Saturday starts next Saturday at noon. Sky Sports.
Larry Davis, defender.
Every picture tells a story. There's some light relief on the way, it seems. We're at Wembley this afternoon for the 1-to-1 Charity Shield between Arsenal and Manchester United. It's Aberdeen against Celtic later tonight. West Ham play on Wednesday. Next weekend, we're all back in business with something extra.
Sky Sports' unrivaled football coverage is back.
Oh my word, would you believe it? It's going to go right to the wire. Turning point in the title race. It really is electric. There's still time. It's all over. It's going to be all over. It's pending. It's
In August alone, we bring you 25 live games, including some nerve-tingling clashes.
This season, we take the coverage even further.
With a new sports channel, Sky Sports Extra on Sky Digital.
It's another first. This new channel brings interactive football to your screens for the very first time.
And this time, you call the shots.
It's the future of digital, here and now, and it's so simple.
Select channel 404, Sky Sports Extra. When the Sky Sports Active icon appears, press the red button on your remote to access Sky Sports Active. Once active, you have a menu with 4 options: angle, highlights, replay and stats. Select any of the 4 modes using the left-right arrow buttons. Press the select button to access your option. Watch the game from an alternative angle. If you like to watch the game from behind the goal, you can when you're interactive. Cut away from the normal coverage anytime you want during the game and give yourself an alternative view. The main view remains on the screen at the same time with up-to-date sports news with the Sky Ticker Tape. Join the game late? Select highlights and you're updated with the best of the action and goals so far. A close call, a great bit of skill. Want to see it again? After watching an incident live, you can select replay to go back 30 seconds and watch it once more. Find out the facts with stats. Select stats and you'll have up-to-the-minute match facts, team lineups, records and trivia. You can call up more information than ever before simply by pressing the corresponding coloured buttons on the remote control. You'll never miss the live action. Press 0 to get back instantly.
Leaves it to Bergkamp. That was a great effort and a marvellous save.
If you need reminding of these steps, press help on your remote control or check out the Sky Digital August TV guide. Sky Sports Extra is free for digital subscribers if you have both Sky Sports 1 and 2. If you wish to add Sky Sports 1 and 2 to your Sky Channels package, call 08702 40 40 40 for more information. Sky Sports Extra makes football viewing even more enjoyable. Also this season, play Football Fantasia and be the boss. You have a budget of £45 million to build the perfect team. It's fantasy. It's all about getting the best players at the best prices. But who do you choose? Finish top of the league at the end of the season and you'll win £30,000. Plus £20,000 worth of spin-off prizes. It's simple to enter. For more details, go to Sky Text page 118 or www.skysports.co.uk or see your analogue August TV guide. Start picking your team and remember, with Football Fantasia, you're the boss.
And there's more football as we follow 4 teams in Europe. Leeds, Newcastle and Tottenham are all in the UEFA Cup, live on Sky, plus West Ham, who hope to join them.
It's interactive.
It's exciting.
It's easy.
It's the future, now on Sky Sports.
Gee, what a season lies ahead then on Sky Sports. Kirsty Gallagher and Paul Dempsey steering us through the latest information. Lou Macari, our guest here today. We are at Wembley Stadium. I think it stopped raining, which is a shame because most on the front rows were enjoying that. Lou Macari, as I said, our guest here today, and a bit of deja vu about the place, Lou, isn't it? Same tour as last season, but in reverse order this time. United top, Arsenal second, and United have laid down the gauntlet. Follow that is the challenge, isn't it?
And it was amazing last season. They came here, Arsenal win 3-0, and United go on to win a treble. And probably no one that day leaving Wembley Stadium would have thought that was possible. So the game, the scoreline, Rich, isn't really a guide to what lies ahead. This is mainly, I think, down to you're looking for good fitness from your players today. You hope to win the game, obviously, as Alex indicated in the interview, but first and foremost, you want to get your players that little bit fitter. It all starts next Sunday, well, for Man United, it starts next Sunday on Sky against Everton, and that's what it's all about.
Arsenal start the day before. We heard Arsene Wenger earlier say that where he felt they faltered last year, if this makes any kind of sense, was the start that they had. They didn't do well enough against teams that weren't going to be involved in the Championship. So presumably this year the call is out of the traps faster.
Well, you've got to be. I mean, if you lose any ground at the beginning, you've got an uphill struggle, and whichever team does it, you've then got it all to do. But it's difficult, I think, to overtake United if they get in front. They've got so many goal scorers in the team, and if their strikers are off form, they can bring in Sheringham, they can bring in Solskjaer, Scholes can score goals, Beckham we know can score them, and that I think is a major strength of the United team. When people are having a little bit of a dodgy patch like the two up front, there's others to come in. They've got a better squad this year as well, Rich, in terms of people who they can rely on. They've got central defenders that they can rely on this year, whereas maybe last year they were a little bit worried about David May. Ronnie Johnson was in and out of the team. Henning Berg, they weren't too sure about, but they've all come through last season, playing their part in helping United win a treble. I'm quite sure the manager wouldn't hesitate to throw any of those players in.
Dennis Irwin captains Manchester United. Nigel Winterburn, I'm delighted to see, one of the old stages at Highbury. Where's the captain's armband? A proud moment for him, and thoroughly deserved as well. No David Seaman today. Alex Manger keeps goal, of course. But not much else has changed at Highbury, you know, has it? A lot of the major players still in place, bar the frontman, who we won't mention. So we know all about them. They'll be there, won't they?
Oh, they'll definitely be there. Anyone that writes off Arsenal is a fool, because even if they got off to a bad start, like the manager was indicating last season, they can make up that ground, but it is so difficult. You don't want to lose ground at the start, but this is a good team, Arsenal. They're strong, they're powerful, and they've got players who want to play for Arsenal Football Club, apart from Nicholas Anelka.
Fantastic teams that have won the lot over the last decade. Great admiration for each other. I suspect not too much friendship.
Well,
amongst the front two that are leading them out, Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger. Come on, Manu. Andy Cole, the last man. And here we go again. In the baking heat, a brand new season, the last of this century, the first of a brand new century. But right up against it, of course, who will be the first champions of a new decade, a new millennium. Mark Bosnich gets a first taste of the sunlight. We haven't seen him at all during the warm-up. I know he's a, what's the word I'm looking for here, Lou? Help me. A character in his own right. He does things his way, but I would have expected to see him on the turf before now. Barely a word exchange look at the front of the line. And there's the man who said no to the number 9 jersey. Would you have done that if you were Kanu?
Probably, Rich. You wouldn't want anything to do with the number 9 jersey. Big season for Kanu. Came in last season, come off the subs bench, played some wonderful games, showed us some wonderful tricks. But it's different when you're out there week in, week out from the start. Like Solskjaer at Old Trafford, he seemed to do better when he came off the bench. When he was given his chance and playing the 90 minutes, it just didn't seem to happen for him. But I'm looking forward to seeing Kanu.
Who can provide something else, of course, can't he, at 6'5"?
Without a doubt. I mean, he's a box of tricks, and unlike Anelka, who we keep mentioning, we said we wouldn't. I went to see Kanu.
You have.
I have, sorry, Richard. I went to see Kanu one day playing in Arsenal reserves at Boreham Wood, and he played there like we will see him play today. He played that he wanted to play football, he wanted to play for Arsenal, and even though it was at the reserves, and even though it was at Boreham Wood, he gave his all, and And as I said, I'm looking forward to seeing the big fella.
It's a good sign, isn't it, when they'll do that in the reserves. Some won't play in the reserves these days, will they? Head of the presentation party is Mr. Tim Samples, the managing director of 1-to-1. Mr. Jeff Thompson, newly installed during the summer as chairman of the Football Association, not acting any longer. And David Davis, the executive director of the Football Association. Manchester United unbeaten this calendar year. 3 trophies in the cabinet. And we heard from Sir Alex Ferguson earlier. That's all history. We start again now. It's the first of 7 up for grabs, I think, isn't it? It was 8 with the FA Cup. They do it right, don't they? I must say, there's still something about a collar and tie on match days, isn't there?
Well, that's Alex. I mean, everything is perfect with Alex, and you don't win the trophies that he's won, Richard, just by having a good team on the pitch. I think people forget that you've got to discipline yourself off the pitch, you've got to look after yourself, and that is something Alex demands. We very seldom see Man United players on the front of a newspaper when they've just been on a tour of the Far East, Australia, no problems. Any problems with Alex, you're out the door.
And the Gunners, like the rest this year, are chasing. Wherever it happens, whenever it happens, we will watch it on Sky Sports. In the Premiership, the FA Cup, the Worthington Cup, in Scotland, in both cup competitions, and of course at international level as well, as England try to qualify for Euro 2000. It's all here on the home of football. And of course there's the UEFA Cup as well. Let's pause for the national anthems.
The national anthem.
Anthem, of course. Let's join our match commentators Trevor Francis and Martin Tyler.
The Charity Shield started way back in 1908, but this is the first occasion on which the same 2 clubs have taken part in consecutive years. A year ago it was Arsenal's day at Wembley, but Manchester United have had a magnet on the major silverware since then. Arsenal have Alex Manninger in goal, David Seaman stricken in France on Monday, Dixon and Winterburn still the 2 fullbacks, but Tony Adams has had a hernia op. It's Gilles Grimandi with Martin Keown in the centre of the defence. The first choice midfield 3 are here today, but last season's top attackers all missing. Bergkamp and Overmars injured, the Anelka mutiny, you know all about that. So it's Kanu up front. Ljungberg will support him. Silvinho on the left, the Brazilian, one of 3 summer signings. The other 2, Luzhny and Maltz, are on the bench.
Yes, it's a familiar shape to the Arsenal lineup, 4-4-2. I rather feel they're handicapped to the heart of the defence. Upson and Adams missing through injury. Bold moved on to Sunderland. So a return to the side for Grimandi. The other 3 players established, very experienced at the back, Dixon, Keown and Winterburn. Midfield, we look forward to seeing Silvinho. Don't know too much about him, but he'll take his place on the left-hand side. I'm sure he'll do a guarding job on David Beckham. And up front, well, we normally talk about the pace of Anelka, also the pace of Overmars. They haven't got that pace today, but I think in Ljungberg and Kanu, they've got 2 very, very talented players, but players who I don't think would disturb Manchester United going in behind, but they're very, very talented having the ball to their feet.
Manchester United come here without Keane, Gary Neville, Johnson, plus the unfortunate Wes Brown, who seriously damaged the knee in midweek training. We wish him well. Ryan Giggs is almost fully fit, but not risk today. Jesper Blomqvist also not 100%, so there's a place for Juri Cruyff, back from his loan to Celta Vigo last season. Their 1 new signing, a familiar face, and an Old Trafford old boy. It's Mark Bosnich.
Well, just like Arsenal, Alex Ferguson prefers the 4-4-2 formation. We've spoken about some of the players who are missing from that lineup, but what doesn't change is the shape, nor for that matter the balance. I think the best way of indicating just how strong Manchester United are is that on the left-hand side they're without Blomqvist and also Ryan Giggs. But it doesn't seem to matter, Martin, because they can bring in Jordi Cruyff, a rare outing for him, and I think that's an indication, the best indication of just how strong they are, that despite without two international players, they can still call on somebody like Cruyff just to give them that balance that they need to play the 4-4-2 formation.
And they brought back Mark Bosnich, 8 years away. He left under something of a cloud. I think there was a problem about a work permit, but the understanding at Manchester United was that if he could solve that, he would come back to Old Trafford. Peter Schmeichel had been installed then. Ron Atkinson played a clever stroke and got Mark Bosnich to Aston Villa, where he has been such a stalwart. But I just wonder, Trevor, the fact that he has played for Manchester United before, 3 games in the old First Division at the start of the decade, will just ease the difficulty of any player coming into a squad in a setup like this.
I think this fella here is so confident that he takes it all in his stride. He still spends a lot of time in the Midlands area, and he was talking to somebody I know quite recently, and he's just come back off tour, travelling all over, I think it's China and Australia. What struck him was he couldn't believe the attention that's focused on Manchester United. It was a new experience for him, something that took him a little bit of time to get used to.
Well, it might have seemed a short summer, but I must say the familiar tingle of anticipation when the teams came out in this wonderful setting on a wonderful day. Weather-wise, not so wonderful for the players. That little shower just teased them, really. It's baking hot out there. It's Arsenal in their first choice colours. Manchester United switching to white shirts today. Lee Dixon. Ray Parlour well forward, and a chance to take on Dennis Irwin. The ball deflects off Irwin, and Arsenal have a corner. Martin Keown wearing number 5 this season, with Steve Bold moved on to Sunderland, has come forward. The corner will be taken by Petit, headed on by Ljungberg usefully. And it came out to Silvinho. What a start that would have been for the Brazilian, who is really by trade a left-back, the next in line to Roberto Carlos.
Well, whoever got the block in here, I think it was Paul Scholes. It was a vitally important block. So I think this shot was definitely going to be on target. Well, it wasn't Paul Scholes, but an important block, whoever it was.
It's another corner, and it's a test for Bosnich, which he wasn't really up to there, although maybe suggestion of a foul. It was Gilles Grimondi, who's not the biggest of the Arsenal players, who came in at the back post. A testing corner for Bosnich from Petit.
Yeah, there was no suggestion either, Martin, that Mr. Barber gave a free kick. It's a well-flooded ball from Petit to the far post. Grimondi gets up above Bosnich, and you can see there, the referee just points to goal kick, so certainly no free kick given.
Kanu. In went Henning Berg. Nicky Butt coolly forward, if coolly is an appropriate word to use in this climate. Foul by Parlour. And David Beckham comes across to involve himself with the free kick. Dennis Irwin thought maybe Beckham would see this as out of range, but it might not be a shot, of course. And it isn't. Rather caught out his teammates more than Martin Keown, certainly. Bosnich warmed up in the tunnel, didn't come out on the pitch because he felt it was cooler to prepare. But he can't keep goal in the tunnel. Phil Neville at right back, his older brother Gary not fully fit. Difficult back pass from Grimondi for Manninger. What a blow that was for Arsenal on Monday, the last minute of their match against Monaco. David Seaman damaging a calf. Beckham's cross. Off the head of Patrick Vieira, and it's Manchester United with a corner.
A typical Manchester United attack, wasn't it? As soon as the ball is delivered to the feet of Beckham, one touch out of the grass, and then it comes in with pace. It's up to then the Arsenal defence to deal with it. Forces a corner, gives Manchester United a chance to put a little bit of pressure on the Arsenal back four.
Hung up towards Berg, who gets an involvement. Petit prepared to take a touch in his own penalty area, which could have been risky. Then Jaap Stam stuck out a leg, and it's gone out for an Arsenal throw. And Petit says that was a bit of dangerous play. It might have been dangerous to his own team.
Well, I think if he'd been playing for France, he would have got a free kick. But in English football, rarely do referees give free kicks for that, as we know.
Well, Graham Barber resuming his refereeing career as a married man. So David Beckham not the only man involved today who went through the wedding process during the close season. Champions, and at the moment the non-defending holders of the FA Cup against the club that pushed them so hard in both competitions. Vieira, Ljungberg looking to link up with Silvinho. Beckham trying to clip it towards Dwight York. Graham Barber having a word with David Beckham. The free kick has gone Arsenal's way. The referees are going to be very hot this season on foul and abusive language, particularly if it's very clearly aimed at close quarters at the official. Graham Barber did send off Nicky Butt in the league game between these two clubs at Highbury last season. That was for a foul on Vieira. And the referee thought that Arsenal were going to have a goal-scoring opportunity. It wasn't an opinion shared by all, but Butt went off. He's out there today. Parler. Dennis Irwin not stepping up, but having stayed in that defensive position, dealing with the ball. So many of these players know so much about playing here at Wembley. Paul Scholes, of course, extremes with England. The hat-trick, then the red card against Sweden in June. A bit untidy.
And if you're going to try and get in front of the forward, you've got to get contact on the ball. Grimandi a little bit rash with his challenge, tries to get in front of Cole. Doesn't quite win it, quite clearly. Has the result in putting Cole to the floor.
It's Beckham with the free kick. Manninger didn't deal with it decisively. Of course, he's stood in to good effect. At times to spectacular effect in periods in the last two seasons for Arsenal, the Austrian.
Yes, unlike the cross that Bosnich had to deal with, he was put under pressure by Grimandi on this occasion. I rather feel Manninger flapped at that because there was nobody quite near him.
It's a Beckham corner, headed out by Keown. Stam. Here's Jordi Cruyff, looking for Dwight York. And the referee was looking for York as well.
Yeah, quite clearly York. Just a little push in the back of Winterburn, and wasn't fortunate to get away with that. Mr. Barber saw that quite clearly.
Well, we have a new Minister of Sport for the season, Kate Hoey, who has come out against Manchester United dropping out of the FA Cup. I believe she's retracted some of those earlier remarks which were harshly criticised by the man she's sitting next to, Manchester United Supremo, Martin Edwards, who's kept a A solid line of argument saying that Manchester United are discussed as far as it's gone now. They are not going to participate in the FA Cup. And they don't want that debate reopened, as the new Minister of Sport was trying to do, on behalf of the fans, it must be said, who are disappointed, as are many of the players. Ljungberg. Kanu. Blocked by Stam. Kanu gave Manchester United a problem or two in the league match at Old Trafford in February. Well, that was promising for Arsenal.
Where did Lee Dixon learn that one from, that little flick? Perhaps from Kanu. Because the first touch of the ball Kanu had in this game was a little flick like this, and this could have been a lovely little 1-2. Great invention from Dixon, just slightly overplayed.
Looks younger with each passing year, the 35-year-old. He's got competition, of course, now with Oleg Luzhny, the galloping Ukrainian. He's been such a star of Dynamo Kiev's contributions in Europe. Luzhny here on the bench today. Silvinho, back goes Scholes.
Well, that's the second time now that they've been able to hit Silvinho. Probably because he's taken up such a wide position there, Martin, giving them plenty of width on the left-hand side. The first one was hit by Grimondi, the second time by Vieira, two excellent crossfield balls.
He's not yet played for Brazil in a full international, Silvinho. He's been in the squad half a dozen times. He takes this corner, and the referee saying some bumping and barging in there. Bosnich had got it in any case and could have kept the game flowing. Well, sweltering down at touchline level is our reporter Nick Collins. Nick.
Martin, it's 96 degrees where we're actually sitting, but a few feet away on the pitch, apparently it's 103. We've just had the Wembley ground staff with the temperature gauge telling us that. I'm sure it's nice and cool up in your gantry, and it's just started to rain.
Thanks, Nick. It's going to be a big test of stamina. The respective managers have the option of using 5 substitutes from 7 named. So I think certainly in the second half we will get some changes, but the players do like backing their sense of stamina in these games at this stage to get the belief that they are right for the reality of the league campaign, which is only a few days away. And it won't be softly here, surely, between Arsenal and Manchester United. There's too much recent history.
I mean, in the latter part of last season, Martin, when all managers are just rearranging all their programme for the pre-season friendlies, this is the game that everybody wants to be involved in. The Charity Shield, there's no better game to play in this one. Very, very competitive. The ideal warm-up for the start of the campaign next week.
Making good ground here is York for Manchester United. Cole. Well, they developed a wonderful understanding in their first season together, Cole and York. The Calypso kids, but it didn't manifest itself with the continuation of the move then. Bit of a limp for Freddie Ljungberg, who came off against St Etienne last weekend, didn't play against Monaco on Monday. And he's the makeshift attacker. Without Bergkamp injured, without Anelka, hopefully from Arsenal's point of view, I think on his way to Real Madrid, which is where he was demanding to be transferred to in the first place. Something around £23 million would be, I think, reasonable compensation in the circumstances. And David Beckham, who came off at Wembley in June with a hamstring against England, is getting a bit of touchline treatment as well around the back area. The new physio, incidentally, Manchester United, or an upgraded physio. Rob Swire has taken over from David Fever, who's moved on to Blackburn. Steve McLaren, who came in mid-season, will probably give him a few words of advice. All keep on doing what Alec Ferguson says, and everything will be okay. Kanu with another of those flicks. Parlour wants a free kick. Not going to get one. And now the rain is really coming down. Very much a tropical scenario in northwest London.
And it's not something that coaches actually coach, flicking a ball like that, but I think when you do it as successfully as Kanu does, and it always seems to reach its destination, I think it should be encouraged.
Scholes just nudging it to Philip Neville. York didn't finish the season particularly prolifically, but of course 29 goals over the campaign. His best ever, and a wonderful reward for Manchester United's investment in the transfer market. It's another little cameo of the fact that this is a contest and not just a showpiece occasion. Maybe some footwear problems for Ljungberg. Gary Lewin helped there by the kit man, Vic Akers. Kia. It's a rather nervy kick by Manninger.
Yeah, but it's not the type of back pass, Martin, a goalkeeper's going to relish, especially in these conditions. All of a sudden now, with the rain coming down, the pitch is going to get a little bit slippery. It's the second one, actually, Grimondi's tested him with. First one was a bouncing ball, this one more firmly hit.
Well, I think that's the big question mark for Arsenal at the moment. In their matches in France, they didn't defend very well as a unit. They now have to start the season. David Seaman will not be ready for the big kick-off in the Premiership, so Alex Manninger will have that responsibility. Steve Bold, who hadn't been the first choice for a year or so, he's not available now. They've chosen to, and I think it's out of great recognition, credit to Arsenal, to allow Steve Bold to move to where he had the chance to play regularly in the Premiership with Sunderland. But that might come to haunt them as well. Remember, they only conceded 17 goals in 38 league games last season. On the other hand, Manchester United were the leading scorers in the league in regaining the league. As we said at the time, paradise regained for Manchester United. They were burning really with disappointment that they'd allowed Arsenal to take the 2 crowns. Plus, of course, the Charity Shield in rather, as Alex Ferguson said at the time, humiliating circumstances here a year ago. But if 98 belonged to Arsenal, 99 certainly belongs to Manchester United, and football's latest night has his first day back on the bench. Didn't go to Australia in the Far East, and an appointment with Her Majesty. Plenty of movement from both teams, trying to get their passing games going. Stam, who a year ago was so tentative in the Charity Shield and was run this way and that by Anelka, particularly on Arsenal's third goal, when Stam really should have stopped it. But how he quickly grew in stature. And a true colossus at the back from the crunch. It's given away by Philip Neville, seized upon by Ljungberg, who's moving a bit more freely after the attention on that far touchline.
It's not particularly easy for Manchester United to get their passing game together, because the 2 front runners for Arsenal, Kanu and Ljungberg, are dropping back so deep. They're allowing the back 4 of Manchester United to have as much possession as they want. And as you've seen the last couple of minutes, plenty of passing across the pitch, but they find it very, very difficult to get into the midfield players, or even to get it to drop it into the front players, because there's so many bodies of Arsenal behind the ball.
Just eased on by Kanu. Wasn't perfect for Vieira, but he made it his. Parlour, Dixon galloping outside. Fine defending by Owen. The choice of stand-in captains has given some extra lustre to the 2 left-backs today. Armbands to 2 of the game's most consistent characters. Parlour, no one quite sure where it was going to drop except Jordi Cruyff. Cleared forward well by Irwin. Cole having problems with the bounce. Petit with a little private game with Vieira, which goes on. And Arsenal do get the decision here. Wembley, very much the second home for these two clubs. Arsenal's alternative ground for their Champions League matches, of course. Manchester United's 17th game here in the 90s. Parla squeezing it back to Dixon across his first time. And Raimondi again making a nuisance of himself. Graham Barber's pointed for a corner.
Well, my first thoughts were that it wasn't a corner. We'll see clearly here as Dixon crosses this. And obviously, Mr. Barber thinks it comes off the head of Phil Neville quite clearly. Bosnich takes the ball over the goal line. So if he feels it came off the head of Neville, he's quite right.
And here is the corner. And Manchester United look back and wonder how they quite got away with that. Back by Parla. And they might be looking again, the Manchester United defenders. First the corner, then the second ball back in. And it's the treble winners of last season who looked less than convincing.
Well, you don't get many better balls than this. Absolutely perfect this from Ray Parla. Just in that corridor between the defence and the keeper. Bosnich can't possibly come for it. There's no United player who tries to defend it, and really Lundberg possibly should have scored.
Keogh breaks away to Jordi Cruyff, who has the name Jordi back on his shirt again. He chopped and changed in that respect. Beckham. It's comfortable for Keown. Good challenge by Scholes, but the deflection there might help Manchester United.
Well, I think Beckham's going to go in the book, Martin. Something he said to the referee. He was very annoyed about a decision that he felt should have been given to Manchester United, and Mr. Barber has taken real exception to his comments.
Well, that's the point I mentioned earlier. Referees now will not take dissent.
I think it was the challenge, you know, Petit on Scholes. I think he felt that it should have been given a free kick for United. We may get a chance to see that a little bit later.
Because I half wondered whether he was going across to a teammate to vent a bit of anger, but clearly the referee believed it was for him and reacted that way. Beckham is booked. More on that in a moment, because it is a corner. And York gets to it, and it might have been prevented by Andy Cole. Dixon lets it go behind for a goal kick, so two major talking points here. One of a football nature, and one more about temperament than talent.
This is the header from Dwight York. I think probably Meninga would have saved it, but certainly Cole did block it. And that's the one I think that Beckham was annoyed about. He felt that was a foul by Petit on Scholes.
But Manchester United kept going forward and got the corner, and if it was straightforward descent, maybe we'll try and get another line on it for you at half-time. But that is a warning to players who might be watching. They have been briefed, or they should be being briefed. The word from Lancaster Gate: in-your-face dissent is not going to be tolerated, and Graham Barber put David Beckham in his place, and let's hope that that's not a sign of Beckham's volatile nature resurfacing. He did so well last year. You remember the Charity Shield, we were all speculating after the World Cup how Beckham would cope with the way that he would be singled out by crowds and by certainly fans of rivals up and down the country. He came through that challenge magnificently. He had a truly exceptional season, and now the brow is furrowed again, the blood is boiling, and he's got a booking to his name. Dixon. Ljungberg asking too much of Sylvinho, really brought to the club to play or to be ready to take over from Nigel Winterburn, who continues to look one of the fittest men around, it must be said. So Sylvinho might have quite a weight to play at left back, his preferred position, but Overmars not 100% fit. And Bergkamp, I think, is closer to being ready for the start of the season. But here's Andy Cole. Decides to go wider to Beckham. Cruyff, who's good in the air, knocks it down. But going in and then going down. And there's adverse reactions here. Charity is rarely an appropriate word for the rivalry between these two. And on the back of the David Beckham booking, Nicky Butt thought he should have had a penalty, and remember there's a bit of history between him and Graham Barber. And then after that there was bad temper breaking out on all sides. Keown gets booked. Trevor Francis.
Well, I think Nicky Butt clearly went for the penalty. It wasn't a penalty in my view. Keown very annoyed about the fact that Nicky Butt was looking for the penalty. You see here as possession is found by Butt. It's not a penalty. Keown gets annoyed, and Nicky Butt actually kicks out there at Keown. And whether he made contact, I think Mr. Barber decides he doesn't make contact, because if he did, then it would have been a red card.
Well, there is another word that FIFA have brought into football vocabulary: simulation, which I suppose is a euphemism for cheating. Stam. So Graham Barber called into question on two of the major refereeing talking points in the summer. Here is Butt. Flicked by York. Cole lined up for the shot, beaten out by Manninger. Best shot of the game so far came from Andy Cole. Here's Jordi Cruyff, teasing ball for the goalkeeper. And the whistle has gone. Manninger flexes the shoulder.
Great strike, wasn't it, by Andy Cole? It wasn't particularly good defending, but Cole was quick to realise they had a little bit of space. Defender should have gone tighter. Grimondi backed off. Great shot and a brilliant reflex save from Manninger.
Well, Graham Barber talking to Patrick Vieira and Martin Keown. Well, Vieira was involved in that earlier episode as well. Keown was the one who went to Nicky Butt when the referee could have sorted it out. Both players, Butt and Keown, were running a serious risk of being red carded. There's no doubt about that.
I was going to say, Martin, what we didn't mention,
chase for York,
was the fact that the ball from Beckham to the far post was a brilliant delivery. Manchester United had a 2-on-1 situation at the back post. Great delivery to the head of Jordi Cruyff. And what surprised me was that Cruyff didn't head for goal.
Well, it's another opportunity. Amazingly enough, it's his 4th Charity Shield, and you find it hard to think of 4 Premiership games that he's played in. I know he has played in more than that. And he seems to be around at the start, but not always for very much longer. He changes his name. One thing he might change is the number, which rather reminds of his father, which is a legacy that, of course, does haunt him a little bit. And now he's going to be booked for that rash challenge as the temperature again rises on this sweltering day as far as the rivalry between Manchester United and Arsenal.
I think what we need, Martin, is a little drop of rain again just to cool these players.
Buckets of ice.
What we don't want is a man dismissed.
So Vieira takes the free kick for Arsenal. Winterburn. Offside against Ray Parlour. So less than half an hour into the latest matchup between Arsenal and Manchester United, Graham Barber an extremely busy referee. Arsenal had a disciplinary incident on Monday when Petit was asked to leave the match against his old club Monaco. Won't go down as a sending off. The substitute was allowed to come on, but that was just before half-time. A player who was sent off 3 times last season. But it is easier and easier to get yourself into trouble in football these days, and players have just got to be mindful of that. Cross by Butt, for which he apologises.
Yeah, the run, I have to say, was far better than the cross. He just ran loose, and Vieira just watched him, didn't bother to track him down.
Just in dealing with the issue of simulation and going to ground, of course, the referees have to pay regard for the fact that it might not be a dive, it might not be a trip, it might just be a stumble. There are all sorts of other issues. Can't automatically be a penalty or a yellow card. Is Andy Cole. Well played, Manninger, but at what price? He needs some attention. Incisive play by Manchester United.
It was a clever little pass from Beckham, and Andy Cole so alert. Just watch how quickly he gets onto this ball. First to react, almost gets there. Brave keeping from Manninger, but at what price?
Well, strangely, Arsenal have got 2 substitute goalkeepers today. John Lukic, coming towards the end of a long career, is stripped and ready for action, and so too is the goalkeeper that they have produced by the FA school, Stuart Taylor. Now, the reason they've got 2 on the bench is that Matthew Upson was expected to take part in this game, but not quite fully fit, and they didn't have another player with them, Arsenal, so to make up the numbers of 7 on the bench, John Lukic, who probably would have been named as the backup goalkeeper, and Stuart Taylor as well.
Well, no doubt Manninger suffering a lot of pain, but the other 21 players are quite pleased that he's down on the floor getting a little bit of attention. He's given them the opportunity to get the water bottles on. They're much needed drink because it's so hot out there. And it's moments like this that give the players a chance to refresh.
And for David Beckham to get another look at that sore back. But get used to this, everybody. Bookings for descent and for going to ground. When the referee says that someone's been trying to fool him, and he felt Nicky Butt, the player that Graham Barber sent off in the league game at Highbury less than a year ago, he felt that Butt was a culprit under the simulation infringement. Kanu. Dixon, Arsenal well represented in the centre. Cruyff charged back well. Keown has always had a little bit of a hot-headed side to him. Showed that again in the Nicky Butt incident. Lovely play between Kanu and Vieira. Well read by Bosnich.
Yeah, excellent keeping from Bosnich. The second time now he's had the race off his goal line. Timed it absolutely to perfection. Great little bit of play again from Kanu. He must have heard the call, didn't know exactly where Vieira was, but played in the direction. He almost got to it.
His birthday today. He's only 23. He is a very versatile footballer, but being asked to shoulder the major burden up front in Arsenal's circumstances at the moment.
That was an example of what I was on about, Martin, at the start of the programme, when I said that the 2 front players, Kanu and Ljungberg, they do prefer the ball to feet, so it's imperative that you get forward runners coming from midfield. And that was an example there of as Kanu came off, so it gave Vieira the chance to go in behind.
Well, the fuss about Anelka, the footballer, is because he is so wonderfully quick, of course. He is the game's major commodity. Very hard for Arsenal to replace that. Thierry Henry seems a major target. Arsene Wenger has said he needs 2 forwards. And here's Kanu. The flag has gone up. And I would like to see that one again.
Well, I didn't think Kanu was offside, but let's have a look. I thought he timed his run absolutely to perfection, but we'll see. Good run again from Kanu. Nicely weighted ball to Savinho. He's got the chance of playing the overlap here. 2-on-1 with Winterburn. He elects to go to Kanu. How could he possibly be offside?
Well, that's onside by the proverbial mile.
It's unbelievable, that decision.
That might have been offside against Beckham, rather than Andy Cole going through the centre. Quick moment to tell you that, of course, the league football has started in Scotland. John Barnes makes his debut as coach of Celtic. You'll see that. Their match at Aberdeen tonight at 6, Sky Sports 3. And we're on the Intertoto trail with West Ham in Holland against Heerenveen. Wednesday at 6:30. That's one to certainly keep an eye on. West Ham take out a 1-0 lead, trying to qualify for a place in the UEFA Cup. Sky Sports 3 again. Well, another frown from David Beckham. He's knocked the ball away, not with sufficient anger to incur the wrath of Graham Barber for a second time inside the 35 minutes. York. Beckham. Cole steers it back to Butt. Has to go to the right. There wasn't too much to the other side from Manchester United. York. Beckham. Butt. Cole and Lee Dixon filling into the centre, as fullbacks have to do in those circumstances. Was the right man in the right place at the right time. Back come Manchester United again. As he's entitled to do, just waited for a while to see whether there was any advantage for United before giving them the free kick.
It was an identical position to what Beckham had in the first minute, the free kick. On that occasion, he decided that he was going to try and play it into feet. You know what, 35 minutes into the game, fully warmed up, I'd imagine he'll have a shot.
He does. A terrific shot! Was it over the line? There's no flag. Was it over the line there? It's a goal second time around for Dwight York. But when we look at it again, Beckham might have some claim to it.
Yeah, I thought it was in from here. We're fully 50 yards from the action, but I think this one's in. Let's have a look.
Dwight York, like a good striker, making sure. But by the underside of a Wembley crossbar, down and in. That's from David Beckham.
And when you look at this, Martin, if you want to be real cruel, you could say that's an own goal. Because that is, well, it's very, very poor goalkeeping. He actually tries to keep this out, Meninga, with his wrong hand. His wrong arm, I should say. He goes with his right, when surely the left would have been far easier to keep that out. But I hope that goes down as a David Beckham goal, because that's a brilliant free kick, one of his trademarks. But that's poor keeping.
Well, Manchester United lead Arsenal in the Charity Shield by 1-0. Here's Vieira.
And I'm not so sure, Martin, to go down for Beckham, because I don't think the referee had given it, nor the linesman. He didn't raise his flag, so I think the order goes down as an own goal.
I can't remember whether you were there, but there was a goal between Scholes and Solskjaer on the last day of a season.
I was there.
And it was clearly over the line for one, and it was given to the other. But, Dwight York will want to have this as the striker, of course. There's a brilliant effort at goal by Beckham.
I'll tell you who doesn't want it is Meninga.
No, well, I don't think that will. He, as you rightly emphasised, did help it on its way, but goalkeepers have done that plenty of times to some goals of yours down the years, I would think. We're not going to go back through the video archives and take some away from you, Trevor.
No, but that's an interesting point, you know, because the referee and the linesman didn't give it, so
right.
it really can't go down for David Beckham, which is unfair, but that's the way it is.
Well, if in your mind it should be a Beckham goal, I'm sure there'll be plenty of David Beckham fans who will take up the cudgels for that particular debate. But we'll talk to all concerned at half-time, which is some 7 minutes away, and Beckham involved in plenty on his return to fitness. And remember, he didn't go to Australia. He was recovering from a hamstring injury at the time that he walked down the aisle, I suppose. If indeed there was a walk down the aisle. I haven't seen the photos. But he wasn't fit to go off to Australia and China.
Martin,
he's certainly back in business here.
As you were talking there, he was certainly in business, kicking Silvino right in front of the referee's eyes. He left his foot in, and he's got to be ever so careful.
Stam wasn't too careful there. Ljungberg, who played so well here for Sweden against England in June, the day Beckham did get injured. And Beckham's only got himself to be angry with that mistake. Scholes. Jordi Cruyff. Scholes. Solid challenge by Vieira on Butt. Got two with him, one either side. Patrick Vieira goes left to Ljungberg.
Back post is on for Parler.
It's been spotted. Oh, and Ray Parler comes up with an air shot. Good movement by Arsenal, orchestrated by Vieira. Ljungberg played a prominent part. The referee did as well, allowing the play to go on because Vieira was impeded after he'd released the pass, but Parler couldn't round it off.
Great vision this from Ljungberg. He saw exactly what I did. Far easier up here, of course. Down on the pitch, much more difficult, but look at the space Parler finds himself in. You won't want to see that again.
To reverse the ball, having spotted another eager run from Andy Cole. Anninger's kick was tentative to say the least. There's been nothing tentative about Beckham. Kanu. Now Ljungberg has been able to run in behind Manchester United here, but he's lacking support.
I spoke about the lack of pace from the Arsenal players without Overmars and Nelka. Well, that was unbelievable pace from Ljungberg. That's what they need to do more often, Martin. Try and search in behind the back four rather than continually come to feet. It's about the first occasion, isn't it? They've really looked well. At least one of the front players have looked in behind the back four, and he actually ran away there from Berg.
And it took his Arsenal teammates by surprise as well, because the one that finally recognised the chance to maybe get up with the play was Lee Dixon.
Yeah, but I think if you go at that pace, Martin, it's impossible to get up and catch him up.
And this of all days. But when you could forgive the players for taking it at a gentler tempo, it's been anything but. Gentle is certainly not the word I would use to describe the first 42 minutes here.
Well, that was a warning, wasn't it, to Manchester United, that you can't leave Ljungberg one-on-one against Berg. I think it'd be slightly different if it was one-on-one against Stam.
It has been a summer in which neither club has been out of the news. And they're certainly making the news here. enough on it to get to York. Foul by Vieira. Petit was taken out by a little bit more momentum on the ball than he expected. But Beckham. It's a cross with wonderful vision, as was his free kick as well. Trevor.
Well, this is the free kick again, absolutely brilliant. No doubt in my mind, that ball is clearly over the line. So disappointed that the referee and the linesman can't spot it.
You can see where the referee is, and he doesn't react at all.
But you can't blame the referee, Martin. The linesman's got to give that. What a pity. Would have been one of the great goals of Wembley. One or two free kicks we've seen over the years, Gascoigne, Chris Watto in important FA Cup semi-finals, and that would have been another great goal.
Ljungberg. Beckham-like vision to give Beckham a problem. But he responds to that problem with some fine defending against Winterburn. Little touch from Cole to York. They got the better of Keown between them.
He's going to wait for support from Beckham. Clever hold-up play from Cole. I should say York.
Just held off the play there, so he could be picked out. It just shows sometimes you can make yourself available by simply standing still. And Beckham was good enough to see that the player who was just holding away from the play was the better option, and Jordi Cruyff let fly.
It's interesting you say that, Martin, about you can find yourself space just by standing still, because I remember a comment by that gentleman's father once saying that to me. The great Johan Cruyff came to watch me on one occasion and said, occasionally, just stand still. Don't continue to keep running, just stand still.
A tip I got from Ron Greenwood. And
was he watching you play?
Well, he did watch me play because I played with his son, but it wasn't in those circumstances. But it was while he was manager of West Ham, and I've never forgotten it.
All my players know on Monday in training if he stood still all the time.
Statuesque Birmingham City. Here's Kanu, not standing still. Arsenal a goal down. Kanu's pass for a rampaging Ray Parlour. Petit's in the centre. Ljungberg is there. Ljungberg maybe slightly unsighted by Petit's jump. Decent angle for the cross.
Well, he's put in 2 or 3 brilliant crosses, Ray Parlour. Really deserves better than that. A good centre forward. Absolutely classic ball, straight onto his head. Ljungberg doesn't really have to move. You have to say, well, if he was a striker, you would say that was a very, very poor header. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he's not a striker. He is a midfield player, so circumstances are slightly different.
Manchester United have won the Charity Shield more than any other club, 10 times outright. And they will have a decision today. If it's level after 90 minutes, it will be a penalty shootout. Had a couple here, Manchester United in Charity Shields in the 90s, one against Arsenal in 93. Peter Schmeichel saved from David Seaman in the shootout. Silvinho. It's nicely played. Ljungberg. Winterburn. A bit obvious, particularly to Jaap Stam.
Yeah, it was all too tight, wasn't it? He needed to come out of there, change the play.
Well, it's the half-time that we reach after a first half that's had the best and almost the worst of David Beckham, really, in losing his temper with Graham Barber and then producing a wonderful free kick, which laid claim from his point of view to a goal for him, but the referee clearly did not give it to him. Dwight York followed it up, and Manning desperately trying to regain some dignity, flailed and had a touch as it went into the net. York will certainly be claiming it. Alec Ferguson has celebrated it. And the players can cool off in more ways than one during the half-time break. We've reached it. Arsenal 0, Manchester United 1.
Gavin Griffiths, defender.
David's defender.
More football today. Aberdeen against Celtic. John Barnes and Kenny Dalglish in charge, of course, now at Parkhead. They play at 6 o'clock on Sky Sports 3. West Ham's bid to join the UEFA Cup action continues Wednesday at 6:30 on 3. Next Sunday, it's Manchester City against Wolves, 12 o'clock, Sky Sports 2. Super Sunday takes us to Goodison. Everton and Manchester United, Sky Sports 1 at 3. And a week today, it's Dundee against Hibs, Sky Sports 3, 5:30. 1-0 to Manchester United, one of those occasions when you drive the decision. David Beckham's goal. Fantastic free kick. And that's what separates the teams right now. 5 players booked already, amongst them, of course, David Beckham. It has been anything but friendly. It has been very entertaining. First blood in the new season to Manchester United. Lou Macari's with us this afternoon. It's actually been very good, Louis, hasn't it?
Very good, Richard. 22 committed players, and that's why the Championship, I feel, will go to one of those 2 clubs. The commitment out there is second to nothing. They want to win. It's a Charity Shield first game, but both sets of players want to win, and right from almost the off, we've seen the new Brazilian lad, Silvinho.
You mentioned the keeper at the start as well. It's a big area, you said, where Manchester United have got to adapt this season. Signs here of getting to know each other, and he didn't look too confident, Mark Bosnich.
Well, he didn't seem confident enough to come for these crosses, and here was another cross into the middle, and Freddie Lundberg at the back post really should have done better. But I think as time goes on, the goalkeeper will get more and more confident, and he will come for those crosses. And that was unfortunate. Good header from Dwight York. And Coley getting the road of it.
They both look in good shape, you would say that, wouldn't you?
I certainly would. It's hot out there. It's very difficult the first game of the season. But as I said, the commitment and the movement from both sets of players is wonderful.
It is a man's game, let's not forget that. And it's good to see the competitive edge about this game, isn't it? Not that, we don't want to see players leaping about, but not that either. But there is a little bit of an edge there that's not bad.
Well, that's what football's all about, competing. And unfortunately there, Nicky Butt just was a bit too keen to show what he felt of today's game. Felt he had an injustice done to him, thought it should have been a penalty kick, and was fortunate not to be sent off. He kicked out.
Goal, one of the great Wembley goals. Terrific strike from David Beckham. How does he keep doing that? Worse when we all know he's going to do it.
Well, when he was going to do it, I thought to myself, surely you're not going to shoot from there. You know, 30 yards out and
Here
wide.
Here it comes. Let's have another look, because there's no doubt that it's across the line. So anyone who is confused and is still unsure, here's the confirmation. Goal.
If we had any doubt in 1966, Richard, there's no doubt there.
We didn't have any doubt.
Well, I did.
And again, in. So pass the message, boys. It's David Beckham's goal.
What a free kick.
Fantastic. And well done, Dwight York, because you'd want your striker to do that, wouldn't you, and make absolutely certain, but it was in.
I think after the game, Richard, Dwight York...
34 yards, look.
I think Dwight York will say it's David Beckham's goal. I think he's got a cheek if he doesn't.
Well, he's got to, because there's the evidence. It is, isn't it?
But Trevor was right. The referee didn't give it. Linesman was obviously in a better position. He didn't give it David Beckham goal, but...
we have. It is. David Beckham has scored. That goal separates the 2 teams at Wembley. And Manchester United very much back in the groove, exactly where they finished last season. They're in front. Can they stay there? The second half from Wembley comes next.
Gavin Griffiths, defender.
Sky's coverage of nationwide and Premiership football kicks off next Sunday. The blue side of Manchester take on Wolves as the quest to reach the top flight begins. Treble champions Man United begin the defence of their title on Merseyside against Everton, who will want a flying start. Then to Scotland, where newly promoted Hibs travel to Dundee. A great day of football next Sunday from 12 on Sky Sports.
David's defender.
There's a special live golf event coming up tomorrow night on Sky Sports 2. A head-to-head between the world's #1 and 2, Tiger Woods against David Duval. $1 million up for grabs in a one-off match play event. That's live Monday night from 1 o'clock here on Sky Sports 2. Repeated at 9:30 on Tuesday morning on 1, and at 7 o'clock again here on Sky Sports 2. That will be worth a watch. It's Arsenal and Manchester United here. Just casting my mind back to, when was it? The 77, the Macari shot, the green off chest. Did anyone ever claim that goal?
No, no one had the cheek to. I'm sure David Beckham
It won the FA Cup, but
that's all we were
unclaimed.
interested in, Richard. Winning the FA Cup. We'd lost it the year before. It was loser's medal in the draw. Got the steps there to collect the winner's medal, and that's all that mattered. But I'm sure David Beckham will claim this one.
Got to. Beckham's goal for you and I. 1-0 to Manchester United. Let's rejoin Trevor Francis and Martin Tyler.
Thank you, Richard. I can add to that because we're hearing that Dwight Yorke, that man with the sunny disposition, has said, as you might expect, that he is happy to give David Beckham the goal because he realised in that blur of a moment before he reacted that the ball was over the line. Also smiling, I should imagine, is David May, because he's got a chance to play in the second half. He will come on for Jaap Stam. David, who didn't play enough games to get a Premiership medal during an injury-hit campaign, but suddenly re-emerged at the sharp end of Manchester United's season and did take part in the big games, including the FA Cup final in that extraordinary finale. Mike Ferguson talked about humiliation in the Charity Shield last season. Well, you don't feel humiliated if you lose a pre-season friendly, which is sometimes the way this match is portrayed. He and Arsene Wenger, although they showed a nice touch together, shaking hands, arm around each other in the tunnel before the teams came out, have resumed what is a very fierce rivalry. We can also confirm to you that Patrick Vieira was booked in the aftermath of the complaints about Nicky Butt going to ground and Martin Keown's hot-headed reaction. Well, Vieira, not for the first time, and I'm sure not for the last time, was in the thick of the fray when he might have been better advised counting to 10 first. Manchester United, for the record, passed Liverpool today as the English club side who have made the most appearances at Wembley in major matches. This is their 32nd game here down the years, 17 of them, as I said, in the first half in the 90s. What a decade of triumph it has been. Other chances to come back here before Wembley is demolished and rebuilt, including next season's Charity Shield, which might be the last match ever played here, more than likely the last club match to be played here. But if I'm being told that if an England date after that is convenient for all concerned, there could be a final international in more than a year's time. But there's not long to go, so take your views of this wonderful stadium as it is and enjoy them and cast them into your memory and keep them there as treasures. I can only tell you what a privilege it has been to be allowed to commentate on so many great occasions here, and I will never forget Wembley as it is, as we see it today.
Martin, a question for you. When you talk about appearances at Wembley, do you talk about Arsenal's championship, I should say European Championship games last year, or Champions League games?
Well, even taking those into account, they haven't caught up, the others, but it's a good point, and I guess if they have a good run in the Champions League this season and play a lot of times at Wembley, they could fit Manchester United, but it's another cause for debate. That's what football's all about. We've had a good debate here over the scorer of the only goal so far. We believe it should be David Beckham's goal, even if the referee wasn't of that opinion. And we'll see what the authorities come up with when the dust is settled on Wembley on August the 1st, 1999. Yorke chasing Beckham's pass. Good retrieving by Grimandi. And then Cole, who had the ball played to him, wasn't quite as positive as Manchester United would have wanted him to be.
You know what I was hoping Cole was going to do? Spot the keeper off his line. And if you had looked at it, Meninga was probably, what, 10 yards off his goal line. And if Cole had spotted it, he could easily have chipped in. Whether we get a glimpse of this, I'm not sure, but that was a great ball from Beckham. Good defending from Grimandi, but just look where the keeper is there now. If only he'd seen that, he could have chipped in.
Silvinho and Petit flagged offside. He's a little angry that the ball didn't come quicker, telling his new colleague. Silvinho doing his best to learn English. His wife's just come over, they're house hunting. Very highly thought of in his native Brazil, but they're still with a barrier of Roberto Carlos to break down to play for Brazil. Parla. Might just be in the kicking department that Mark Bosnich is going to be maybe most examined in comparison with Peter Schmeichel.
Well, that's a very, very late decision by the linesman. Once again, debatable whether he was offside. I think the linesman actually got it right, but he was slightly late raising his flag.
Kanu. Challenged by Berg. Here's Vieira. Kanu. It's back from Parla. Probably may have bought Manchester United a bit of time there. Keogh. Intercepted by Cruyff, but Arsenal keeping the ball in Manchester United territory and quickening the pace with Vieira. Great run from him, he goes down. And, well, that's the debate, and maybe that's the natural stumble that the referees will, I hope, continue to recognise, that it's not got to be a penalty or a dive, there is something in between. Trevor Francis.
Real positive thrusting run this from Vieira. Well, I think he falls over looking for the penalty, and the referee isn't as sure as what I am, and therefore he doesn't book Vieira. I think he also realises that if he does book him here, it means it's a sending off.
Wasn't much contact, was there? And that's how difficult it is for referees. He gets one look at it, Graham Barber. And how different was that from the Nicky Butt incident? Not much, I don't think.
I just wonder, Martin, if that had been a league game, whether it had been so fortunate to get away with it. Possibly because it's a friendly, a Charity Shield game. He's allowed him to stay on the field.
I would hope that by and large the message is to support the referees. They have to go through a lot of fresh instruction at the start of each season. It's like relearning the alphabet. And the decision for the referee here is a corner for Arsenal, who are having a good spell territorially without really carving out opportunities in the early minutes of this second half. Poor corner, cut out by the man at the front post, Dwight York, but he's lost it. Some Arsenal appeals for handball there, answered in the negative. Remember, Manchester United unbeaten since before Christmas, that home defeat by Middlesbrough when Alex Ferguson wasn't there. And that's a run of 33 games. Steve McLaren's never seen them beaten in an official game since joining the club from Derby County, and he's on the right side of the scoreline at the moment. Hoisted forward by Beckham. Cole, Arsenal a little slow to react. I don't know whether they were thinking about an offside. Lee Dixon belatedly has a look across at the official. be too critical about slow reactions here in this sweltering heat, sapping weather. But Manninger has got to prepare, but he might be called upon to react here because David Beckham is eyeing up another possibility from a similar angle. The referee just asking the wall to go back a little. Still doesn't look 10 yards. And it's a corner. And he's getting the reception that a top talent deserves. Of course, from his own fans in this half, David Beckham. Berg and York coming in, but in between was Grimandi.
And he's complaining, why should I be left with two? And he's right. It's a big header that from Grimandi. Does a good job there at the back post.
And the noise you're hearing, if you look at the replays, more admiration being expressed for Beckham on this near side as he takes another corner and outswinger this time. Well defended by Martin Keown, who got the ball despite being pushed. Didn't go outside the penalty area.
No, that's right. Another interesting change with regard to referees, Martin, this year is that there are going to be Premiership referees actually refereeing the Nationwide.
And what do you think as a Nationwide manager about that?
Well, my first thoughts are, on a Monday night when I'm commentating, I have to be very, very careful. Because the following week we could just have that referee in Birmingham. That's my first thought, an honest thought.
Yes, I'm sure it won't detract from the honesty that you always use when making your comments about not just referees but players as well. Vieira. Kanu. It could run for Silvinho. Very similar to that incident at Old Trafford in February when Kanu caught out Manchester United's back line and it led to an Arsenal goal on a follow-up for Anelka. They were going for the return pass, but Kanu was going for goal.
Well, he certainly had his sights on the goal, but if only he'd spotted Silvinho. The right back, Phil Neville, had to come in on the cover. Silvinho left totally unmarked. If he had been released, I'm sure that would have been the equaliser.
Gone in the second half. Manchester United's goal coming in the 37th minute. Grimandi, good climb from him. Parler at the outlet on the right, Lee Dixon. Petit. Certainly that aspect, that part of Arsenal's play is intact. And a good cornerstone for Arsene Wenger. Parler, Vieira, Petit. Kanu, but it's how they're going to operate further forward. Bergkamp, of course, will be back soon. Look at that turn by Dwight York. Here's Butt, and played the safe and sensible ball to Beckham. Got three looking for the cross. And again, good aerial defending by Grimandi. Not always his strongest suit, but he won a header there in awkward circumstances. Petit is penalised. Free kick taken maybe with a moving ball by Beckham. Referee saw nothing wrong. Kanu. A long run for Parler. Pass really didn't give him much chance, and Kanu just kicked the air angrily. Where Parler might have a better chance is a mistake by Bosnich. I mentioned that he's not the most convincing kicker a little earlier, and that was a very tame effort
Well, that's just total lack of concentration, isn't it, that?
Dixon.
No other excuse for that.
Kanu. Parlour, can he get a shot in here? David May says no, and then just nibbled away at the back. Kanu picked up the loose ball. Parlour wasn't appealing, as he was caught from behind. Kanu got on with the game.
Well, I think the very, very hot conditions, Martin, are starting to take its toll on this game now. I've noticed in the last 5 or 10 minutes the game already starting to open up. Well, that could have been a penalty, couldn't it, there? If the referee had spotted that like we could see it, that was definitely a little trip. David May on Parlour. What I was saying was the game's starting to stretch now. A lot more space is being found. And we've got, what, another 32, 33 minutes to play. I'll be very, very surprised if we don't see more goals.
Parlour was conserving his breath, not wasting it appealing for a penalty. But first reaction from me, rather like our first reaction on the goal that the ball was over the line, was that was a foul. But getting back, finding a bit of extra pace there, that's a good indication of his conditioning. Keogh. Bosnich kick this way. And safe enough, straight down the slot for Cole. Raimondi a little rash with the jump, and Andy Cole did his job going for the ball.
He had no need there to push him. In fact, he had no need to even head it, because he had two covering players there in Winterburn and Keown. Perhaps if he just had a little call and let the ball run through to the covering two defenders.
Philip Neville. Oh, that's an angle ball that Butt. I'm not sure that it was tailored for him, and Butt's left a foot in there.
That was a nasty challenge, that, from Nicky Butt. That's the sort of challenges, you know, that referees must pick up. Quite clearly, Keown is favourite to intercept the ball, and Nicky Butt just follows through with his foot. Have a look at this.
Well, as we said about Patrick Vieira earlier, maybe if Nicky Butt hadn't been booked, it might have been a booking, and to emphasise again, had this been a Premiership game, we might already be talking about the number of red cards in it. Cole. He's done very well to hurdle Keown. Arsenal trying to break out. The intercepting done by Henning Berg. Scholes. Oh, it's a great ball from Scholes, and not so great from Cole. Whether the flag would have gone up against York, it might have done.
Well, it had not gone up, Martin, but I think you're right. I'm sure it would have had to have gone up.
Vieira. Good closing down by the Manchester United substitute, David May. Paul Scholes takes that on.
Well, my first thoughts were that Andy Cole was offside, Paul Scholes was onside.
And the decision here is whether Cole is an active player. And he was making a run forward, so I think he's... whether he was in an offside position is another debate, of course, but he was certainly trying to be a recipient of the pass. It's history now. Reflect on another Manchester United change. Off goes Jordi Cruyff, and a relatively surprising inclusion today. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came back early from Manchester United's travels with a reoccurrence of a knee problem that looked as though it would need surgery. Apparently that hasn't been the case. Solskjaer played in a match along with Scholes and Beckham in Bristol on Friday. Came through it well, scored, as you would expect Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to do. He's here at Wembley as a player, and as is so often his lot for Manchester United, comes on as a substitute.
I think the linesman there has given a foul throw in against Ljungberg. Possibly because his feet were encroaching onto the pitch. Whether we get a close-up of that, maybe I'm asking too much, but I think I'm probably right.
Winterberg. Grimondi. Kicking out Parler. Kanu. Headed back by Scholes, who's become a father during the close season. Congratulations to him and his good lady, baby boy. Now his life really begins. Beckham. One thing we didn't check on at half-time, the state of Alex Manninger after that incident with Andy Cole. Certainly kept flexing his shoulder. Clearly the fact that he's come out for the second half suggests that if there is a problem, it's a minor one. Well, there was no one making a run then, and you can hardly blame them. But this is just the start of our football for you on Sky Sports. Aberdeen against Celtic, all the changes at Celtic over the last month or so. Sky Sports 3, you'll see what impact they've had on the playing side of the club as the Scotland Premier League enjoying its first weekend of real action. England a week behind, and then on Wednesday, West Ham in Heerenveen, a 1-0 lead, looking via the Inter-Toto Cup to qualify for the UEFA Cup, a competition that you'll be able to follow exclusively live on Sky Sports. With it's a substitution time for Arsenal. And Luis Boa-Morte, the wide left player from Portugal, maybe will occupy that position because it's Silvinho he replaces. At the moment, Boa-Morte lining up in a more central position, and maybe he'll go up front with Kanu and try and provide a bit of pace with Ljungberg, who is more of a midfield player, operating on the left. Winterburn, Arsenal need to find a bit more penetration in their play, by whatever means. York. Nicely done by Petit. Ljungberg. Kanu. Can use Parler. It's Ray Parler for Arsenal. Oh, the inside of the post. Back to Kanu. Can he get a shot in himself? Blocked by Butt. Well, a wonderful effort by Ray Parler. Very unlucky. Here's Vieira. Oh, and he's tugged. Penalty. There are some Manchester United protests here, but Graham Barber has pointed to the spot, so Arsenal aren't dwelling on the close call for Parler.
Well, 10 minutes ago, there's a contentious issue. Was it a penalty when Vieira went over? On this occasion, he's fallen over, but I think his shirt was clearly tugged there by Dennis Irwin. Clever play by Vieira, holds the ball up, turns, gets possession, gets away from Dennis Irwin. Once he felt the little tug on the back of his shirt, he's gone over, and Mr. Barber, rightly so in my opinion, has given the penalty.
It's Kanu to take it. It's 1-1. Mark Bosnich, who has quite a reputation in saving spot kicks, totally beaten, went the wrong way. And when one thinks back to how close Arsenal came in an FA Cup semi-final to spoiling what turned out to be Manchester United's season of sensation, Kanu doing rather better against Bosnich than Dennis Bergkamp did at Villa Park against Peter Schmeichel.
But when you see a guy taking a penalty like that, you must give any manager total confidence. He was always in control of himself, knew exactly what he was doing, very, very calm, didn't panic at all, and he always knew exactly what he wanted to do with it. It's been on the cards though, Martin. I sensed it a few minutes ago that Arsenal were starting to push on, leaving themselves a little bit exposed at the back, at times 2-on-2, but they've come forward very positive, and that equaliser has been on the cards.
And on the incident itself, Dennis Irwin clearly had grabbed Vieira's shirt. Vieira was happy to go down. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But why not when you're having your shirt pulled, and it's an aspect of the game that has been on the increase, and the officials are trying to cope with it. So Beckham's great moment in the first half, not the decisive moment in the match. Arsenal are level. Beckham's corner. Kanu. Morte goes off through the middle. Two to try and take on, but he didn't take the ball with him, and Irwin not rattled by being responsible for Arsenal's equaliser.
If he had controlled that ball, Morty, that would have been interesting. With his pace, one-on-one against Dennis Irwin, plenty of grass in behind in which to knock the ball. But the fatal error he made was that he never controlled the ball.
Here is Boa Morte. Mark Bosnich on his return to Manchester United colours, beaten for the first time by an impeccable penalty from the Nigerian Kanu.
He was also beaten, Martin, 30 seconds prior to that penalty with a brilliant effort from Ray Parlour, which deserved the goal.
Well, there's more than 20 minutes to go here, but there is the option for decision via penalties. Scholes, Manchester United looking eager, trying to pick up the pace of some of their first half play. But Scholes going into a cluster of teammates there who didn't really peel away into the space that he thought they would.
I think you've got to give a little bit of credit to the manager, Arsene Wenger. It's been a clever substitution, because with Boa Morte's pace, there's a bit more thrust up front, but what it's also done is it's given Ljungberg the chance to go back into his favourite left-sided midfield position, and he's doing perhaps a better job now the last 10 minutes on David Beckham than what Silvino did.
Head down, swing through the ball and hope. Mark Bosnich there, but he made decent contact. Here come Arsenal again with Kanu. And Dixon looking to join in for Parlour. Tried from behind by Berg. And then it's the whistle goes for a free kick. It seemed to Manchester United. The game restarted quickly. Boa Morte is going to get some opportunities, I think, playing as a forward for Arsenal this season, unless they really dip into the transfer market. Or Grimandi taken out by the pass from Cole for York. And he's
what a chance
in a way that doesn't need really any great description from Trevor and myself. He knows better than anybody else what an opportunity it was.
Well, I spoke about Arsenal throwing caution to the wind, at times 2-on-2. On this occasion, well, there were 3-on-2, Manchester United, and that's a, well, don't say that too often, do you? But I have to say, poor effort from Dwight York.
It's a lovely pass from Andy Cole. May's header. Grimandi, who was relieved that York missed it. Keown just got enough of it. Kanu. Wonderful. Quick feet for such a tall man. Parlour. Ljungberg trying to crop up on the right. The pass asked too much of him. Solskjaer. And that's over the top for this time Cole to chase. Can he take his chance? Fantastic save by Alex Manninger. Not a case of the forward shooting the ball against the goalkeeper, as so often happens in that situation. Manninger went across and kept it out as Manchester United got through again.
What great play that was all round, Martin. Great spot from Solskjaer. Brilliant contest between Keown and Andy Cole, two very, very quick players. But once Solskjaer plays it into the space behind, Andy Cole gets the run on Keown, quickly gets under control. He's having to play it with the outside of his right foot. Good positioning by Manninger and an excellent save with his left hand. He just flicks it with the outside of his right foot, gets enough power on it. It's a good save. Fortunately for Manninger, nobody follows it up. It's a good save.
Solskjaer. York. I suppose if it carries on through Alec Ferguson's strips in 1999, as Arsenal concede a free kick to Keown's mystification, it will be a substitute who will win another trophy. His switches have worked so spectacularly. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the man in Barcelona. Teddy Sheringham, of course, came on in the cup final to score, and in the Champions League final as well. He hasn't been used yet today. Well, such is David Beckham's quality that it does look as though Manchester United here, maybe they're trying to kid Arsenal as well as us, that there is no other alternative but Beckham going for goal. And he says an arm was up, and it's another gesture of dissent from David Beckham. And is Graham Barber going to really grasp the nettle here and grasp the yellow card again and send Beckham off?
I think it'll be a severe warning.
Beckham thought his free kick was blocked by an arm in the Arsenal wall.
I wouldn't mind betting, Martin, that David Beckham is not aware of the new rulings, you know. Otherwise, he wouldn't take that kind of risk.
Well, there's protesting and protesting, isn't there? And football has never been a game of silence for the players. Here's Beckham's corner. Filner. Was slipping as he made contact with the ball, lost the accuracy because of that. Beckham. The flag has gone up.
I think we're about 3 offside there. Arsenal have a good line. There you can see certainly 2 offside. Actually, Nicky Butt, who was the nearest to getting contact with the ball, I think he was onside.
New number for you for man of the match, but the same principle. We ask for your view. 09009 112233. Made up your mind, let us know. There's a few more minutes to go yet before we come to a decision. Well, no one would support foul and abusive language in the game. It's got no part in it. But having a word with the referee has been part and parcel if it's done properly. And Trevor and I were talking at half-time. I think what we'd really like is these offsides to be more consistently coming down on the correct decisions, with attackers getting through. We've seen 1 or 2 examples today. It is desperately difficult for the assistant. It's not really aimed as a criticism of those who are trying to apply the rules at the moment, but that technology may be asked to help. Here's Kanu. He's got help from Parlour. Ray Parlour for Arsenal. They lead Manchester United by 2 goals to 1. His earlier shot hit the post and came out. This one flew on into the net. Arsenal were a goal down, and now at Wembley, a splendid response for them in the second half. They lead Manchester United 2-1.
Well, once again, Kanu plays a part in this goal. He collects this ball. His control is absolutely spot on yet again. All match he's been absolutely top class. He turns the defender. Just look at the weight of the pass. Knew exactly where Parlour was, but what a finish. Cross The diving Bosnich gives him absolutely no chance. In off the post. Arsenal in the driving seat. I remember coming here last year, Martin, and remembering Anelka terrorising Manchester United, and I forecast a massive season in the Premiership for Nicolas Anelka. I think this year my forecast is that Kanu is going to play a big part in another successful year for Arsenal. When I say successful, I know they didn't win anything last year, but they're still a top team, finished second, but I think this year Kanu will play a major part. He will start, and I think that he really is a big talent. He's been outstanding this afternoon.
Well, nothing can be taken away from what Manchester United did last season. It really marks them down as the greatest English club side of all time over one season, because no other English club side had done it. We should point out, for the benefit of our many viewers in Scotland, that Celtic did that treble in the 60s under Jock Stein, and Ajax in their pomp in the early 70s also managed that particular treble. But I go back to how close the margins were in Villa Park, and Dennis Bergkamp with the ball on the penalty spot, and there was no treble thoughts for Manchester United as he stepped up then. There isn't too much between England's top two. But in this FA Charity Shield, there is now a goal between them in Arsenal's favour. An offside decision against Solskjaer, coming in from the left-hand side. And it's marginal again. And what happened afterwards with the penalty claims was rendered academic by the flag going up and the whistle blowing, more to the point.
Once Kanu released Ray Parlour, there was no way anyone was ever going to catch him. I think what you see, Martin, the last 20 minutes, with the loss of, well, not the last 20 minutes, I should say, since half-time, with Jaap Stam going off, it's rather exposed Manchester United's lack of pace at the back. I think players like Ronnie Johnson and Jaap Stam are vitally important to them, both two very quick players. But at the moment, you look across that back four, you don't see a lot of pace there.
2 goals in 10 minutes past the Manchester United defenders. And bang in the face for Keown. Teddy Sheringham. Well, storm clouds seem to be gathering over his time at United, but how his star shone again at the end of the season. The Arsenal fans have to find other ways of taunting the former Tottenham star. He does, at the age of 33, finally have medals to show for a distinguished career. Off goes Nicky Butt, and on comes Teddy Sheringham. Arsene Wenger, going back to that night at Villa Park, he really is the master of managerial self-control, but he cracked that particular evening. And Ryan Giggs scored the goal of his life. No Giggs today to contend with, although Matt Ferguson told me this morning that Giggs is likely to have a match in midweek. Jesper Blomqvist, in case you missed the earlier news, just picked up a bruised thigh in training yesterday, not wrist. Trevor, just to emphasise again Kanu's part in this.
Well, he just shrugs off, I think it's Berg, or is it May, and then the weight of the pass is absolutely perfect. He always knew that Parlour was going to get the run on Dennis Irwin, but he played it, weighted it to perfection, and then Ray Parlour did the rest. And he still had a lot to do, but it was a brilliant finish. Once again, look at his hold-up play, Martin. Every time he gets it, keeps a hold of it.
It's a class act. there's going to be an interesting debate if Arsenal do win this game, because Manchester United have been telling us this week they do not regard this as an official match. Most statisticians, certainly those of the professional variety, do. So this would go down in the objective record books as a Manchester United defeat, but we've still got 8 minutes to go, and given their capacity for scoring late on, we shouldn't prejudge the issue.
You certainly can't have any more forwards on the pitch than what they've got at this moment. So I've never seen such an attacking lineup as this.
Arsenal might be able to exploit some extra space in midfield. With the Ljungberg, Parlour, for Dixon, Vieira. We can use Manu Petit. Winterburn waiting down below us. Arsenal can try and just keep the ball here if that's what they choose to do. Petit, good movement by Ljungberg. It's patient but progressive as well. Throw. Time is with them. Andrew Winterburn, who finished last season with a terrible facial injury at Leeds. It was a painful night all round for Arsenal. It was the night really that the title and their defence of it went away from them. He trots back. Whether he's going to go up perhaps to get the Charity Shield as the standing skipper today, leaving Kanu. Grimondi has still come forward. Petit's free kick. Well, he must have fancied his chances there, judging by his disappointment, Gilles Grimondi.
Yeah, the one thing about Grimondi, you know, at both ends of the field, he really does attack the ball well.
I've been at 1 or 2 games where that hasn't been the case. I think it was Marcelo who scored for Sheffield United with a header. And Grimondi was beaten in the air. There's Dixon with a header that's done as it left his head from our angle, whether it was going to be a bit on the short side like the haircut. But it achieved its target. It got the ball safely back to Alex Manninger. And what an important save that seems to have been from Andy Cole. And David Seaman stand-in. Ian and Cole, of course, were together as youngsters at Arsenal. Andy Cole didn't make it at Highbury. Played in the Charity Shield for the Gunners. A brief appearance as a substitute way back in 1991. Man of the match, another reminder of this rather elongated number, 0900 911 2233. Petit, Vieira had gone on a forward run, hoping Kanu would win the header. Nice there from the chest from Sheringham. Scholes thought he was impeded. Vieira slipped it through. There was a slip from Boa Morti of a different kind, and Ljungberg still chasing it. 4 minutes plus stoppage time left at Wembley. Real turnaround in the second half. Vieira trying to go it alone. Kanu. Parlour. Back comes Solskjaer, but Parlour keeps going forward. No foul, says Graham Barber, who's had a testing match. Maybe the biggest test of all for everybody involved out there has been the fitness and how they all feel individually. Manchester United in a hurry to take the throw, wanting the ball back quickly. Dwight York. Petit. Arsenal fans love that. Ljungberg. Winterburn is with it. Here's Kanu, he's got time for a shot himself. It's probably the right decision. Ray Parlour maybe reflecting out on the right-hand side what might have been. But as Trevor has been emphasising in the second half, much more space as the fatigue takes its toll. But it has been a rattling good contest. One to keep us absorbed here from the commentary position. I hope you've been feeling the same way at home. Oh, and out came Bosnich, and Boa Morte got a foot to the ball.
I think the referee's actually given a free kick against him for dangerous play, much to the relief of Mark Bosnich, because he was never going to get there, Bosnich. But it was dangerous play, wasn't it? I think Bosnich was just trying to head it away and try and gain possession of the ball.
Phil Neville, Sheringham. Well, for so many matches, Trevor, scoring the first goal for Manchester United in a match has been tantamount to, at the very worst, not losing, invariably winning. And here they have done at Wembley. Scored the first goal, but Arsenal have found that great resolve. They were the team who came here with the greater depleted resources. So it was said. And here's Oleg Luzhny, who's played at Wembley before for Dynamo Kiev against Arsenal. Just going to get a little flavour of it in place of Ray Parlour, who's had a real impact on the match and has confirmed really what he showed over the second half of last season. How wise it has been for Kevin Keegan to re-involve him in the England setup.
I don't think that's anything to do with fitness. I think that's probably because Manchester United have so many attacking players on the field that he sees Luzhny as slightly more defensive than what Parlour is. He wants to win the match, Wenger.
Luzhny, they call him the horse, his thoroughbred capacity to run up and down the touchline. Time that Manchester United got going in Barcelona. And they rely on a late show yet again. Sheringham is there to play his part, and he's earned a free kick.
Good play that from Sheringham, just invited the tackle, held the ball, invited Grimondi to make the free kick, make the foul I should say, to give him the chance of having a free kick. I think even by David Beckham's standards, this is probably too far out.
You're a brave man to say that, Trevor. It's central, he can go either side here. So Manninger has taken up a station bang in the middle of the goal. Near, but not near enough in the circumstances. And David Beckham, who gave Manchester United the lead. I think we're all going to come to that conclusion. You get maybe some conflicting views in your newspapers tomorrow. We shall see. The referee has certainly been the one dissenting voice. If he didn't give it as Beckham's goal, if he didn't see that the ball had crossed the line and Dwight York followed up. But that's not the main issue now. Luzhny thinks he's sent his team a corner, and he's got some support from the officials. He's no spring chicken, by the way. He's 31 next week, so it's not as though Arsene Wenger has gone necessarily for youngsters to step in, and he's looked for a proven product in Oleg Luzhny. So add some cover and competition for Lee Dixon. Corner for Arsenal. We're well into the couple of minutes of stoppage time. That was signalled by the fourth official. February 1993, the last time that Manchester United scored first and lost. As I say, they do not recognise this as a match in their record books, but Arsenal certainly do. Arsenal retain the Charity Shield. Most people will say the end of Manchester United's run that goes back to before Christmas, although you will get a different view on that from within Old Trafford. Alex Ferguson's side have lost on this occasion. Again, their first defeat since that match against Middlesbrough at home on December the 19th last year. Kanu has come out and performed in a manner that suggests that it's not all doom and gloom up front for Arsenal, with Anelka seemingly on his way, Bergkamp and Overmars not yet ready to get their season underway. The handicaps look to be those of the London club, certainly when Manchester United scored first, but they do have a deep resolve within their ranks, Arsenal, and in the second half, Kanu's penalty, and then the tall Nigerian laying it on for Ray Parlour to ram in the winner off the inside of the post. Trevor.
Well, there's very little to choose between the two teams, two outstanding teams that I think are going to be up there challenging for the championship, but probably it came down to one bit of individual brilliance, and I think from the best player on the field, and that was Kanu. He scored the penalty, made the goal for Parlour, and I think that he was the difference probably between the two teams.
Well, this has given us really more than a taste of what's to come in all sorts of ways. The calibre of the top two clubs, the depth of talent available to each manager, the rivalry between the two of them, but also we've seen over the 90 minutes the way perhaps that the referees are going to react in certain issues, with the reaction to dissent and the mandatory instructions when a player is seen to be diving. Patrick Vieira, one of those players, cautioned today for adopting an aggressive attitude, his problem. But Arsenal end with smiles on their faces. And for once, in 1999, the losing team is Manchester United.
Yes, I don't think they'll mind too much, Martin, if they come out on top at the end of the season. All said and done, this is a friendly, but this is near as you can possibly get to a full-scale game. It's very, very competitive. I think considering the conditions, you know, and seems to be the same every year, doesn't it? I remember last year it was sweltering hot conditions. We've seen some great football. It's been a really entertaining game, and everybody that's came today, I think they've got full value for money. I've certainly enjoyed it. Some smashing individual performances, as I mentioned. But I think that the two managers will be reasonably pleased with the performances of their teams, and obviously for both managers, they've got some big players to come back next week.
Well, let's get some Arsenal reactions as Dennis Irwin leads up the losers, and Nick Collins is talking to Ray Parlour.
Ray, congratulations. Did you feel when you were one down at half-time you could still come back and win this one?
Yeah, we had belief in ourselves, you know. The manager went through a few things half-time, and we had nothing to lose, so we come out. We played well second half, created chances, lucky two went in, and it was a great result for us.
With a number of big name stars missing this afternoon, how much of a boost is it that you've actually beaten United with your big names missing? Yeah,
they had a few out as well, you know, and it's important. It's an important part of the pre-season. It's a great day out. The supporters enjoyed themselves, so yeah, it's important for us to get a good result. Now we can look forward to the lead.
When you hit the post, did you think it wasn't going to be your day scoring-wise?
Yeah, I thought, oh, this one's in, but you know, I had another chance, and lucky that one in off the post this time. So yeah, I was well pleased.
Well done, well played, Ray. Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, even in defeat, Alex Ferguson can manage a smile. That maybe just tells you that it's not quite the full Monty here today. But nonetheless, it has been a very testing workout for the players, and a fine football match to bring to you as a teaser for what's coming up on such a regular basis for you, and with all our extra technology that you're going to hear about. But that's what it's been about today. Manchester United won the first Charity Shield back in 1908. But today they've had to settle for second best, and it's good to see one of the old stagers, Nigel Winterburn, coming up with Tony Adams unfit, to have the honour of receiving the trophy. A year in which Manchester United have taken the Premiership and the FA Cup from Arsenal, but the Charity Shield stays at Highbury. It's a 9th outright win for the London club, and they're only one behind United now in that respect. Well, one half of the stadium remains full, and as we become accustomed, the losers head for the early exits. Trevor Francis has a journey to make as well. Before you take your leave of us, Trevor, thanks for your contributions today. Final thought, looking forward to the next Arsenal-Manchester United match, I guess.
Well, I'm looking forward to the season, because I think that it's not just going to be Manchester United and Arsenal. I think we all think that Chelsea are also going to be in there. They've strengthened this season. And I also saw a very good Leeds side yesterday. I think that they've made 1 or 2 excellent signings during the summer, and I think David O'Leary's side can push on from last year. Whether they can improve on 4th position remains to be seen, but I think they can push the other 3 a lot closer than what they did last year.
And we look forward to Birmingham City having a right go to be 1 step further forward than last season, which you came so close. Is it particularly frustrating, thinking you could be how close you were to being a Premiership manager at this stage?
No, I've got over it now. It was a terrible disappointment to go out, you know, with penalties, but each year we've improved. We've gone from 10th to 7th to 4th last year, so if we can make the same improvement again this season, we'll be in the Premiership next year.
Well, good luck to you, good luck to everybody as they look forward to a brand new season. Arsene Wenger gets the congratulations for Arsenal today. They retain the Charity Shield by beating Manchester United by 2 goals to 1.
Well done, the Gunners. Reaction, of course, to follow very shortly, but there's a lot more live sports still to come tonight across our 3 Sky Sports channels. On 1 now, it's cricket, the Super Cup final between Yorkshire and Gloucestershire. Here on 2, there's live Indy racing and live US Tour golf. Day 4 of the Greater Hartford Open. And over on Sky Sports 3, there's golf now from the European Tour. Day 3 of the European Open, followed at 6 by more football. Our first match of the new Scottish season as Aberdeen take on Kenny Dalglish, John Barnes, Celtic and all. The Charity Shield is Arsenal's reaction from the dressing rooms when we come back, and also the thoughts of Lou Macari. That's next.
Gavin Griffiths, defender.
Jay Davies, defender.
Well, tell them it wasn't serious and didn't matter, because they're not having it, and nor are we. Arsenal have won the Charity Shield. Manchester United beaten for the first time in 34 matches. So the club record that they were looking to equal has gone. They'll have to start again. And who's to say they couldn't get there again either? But this one's gone. A goal up at half-time from David Beckham. 2 in the second half, 1 for the Gunners. Kanu with the penalty and Ray Parlour. Otherwise, very much as it was last season, if you look down the facts, nothing at all between them. Those 5 bookings all coming in the first half, amongst them David Beckham, Nicky Button, Cruyff for Manchester United, Vieira and Keown from Arsenal. Well, the possession, Manchester United's first half, when they led by a goal to 0. How much did that change? OK, the man of the match. A few contenders. Amongst them Kanu, I would have thought, but yes, Kanu with 27%, but Beckham's won it, look, with 46% of the vote. So well done, David Beckham. And Alex Garvey from Altrincham in Cheshire. Well done, Alex. You win the replica jersey today. Right, let's get some reaction. Arsene Wenger first with Nick Collins.
Arsene, congratulations. No league points at stake, but do you feel that's a real statement of intent from your side this afternoon?
Yes, of course, we felt it's a trophy and we wanted, of course, to win the game. It's always important when you have Arsenal, Manchester United in front of such a crowd, and psychologically as well, it was important, I think, to beat them.
A lot of people were actually writing off Arsenal's chances because of the number of players you had out injured, but you proved a few people wrong, haven't you?
I don't know if we have a chance. The only thing I'm sure is that we will fight to have a chance, and that's the most important. We were 1-0 down with a good Man United side in the first half, but we had once again the mental strength and the spirit to fight back and to win the game. And that's always qualities you need to be successful in the season.
Kanu was the man who perhaps changed things, scoring the penalty and then teeing up Ray Parlour. He was very successful towards the end of last season. Do you believe you'll get a similar kind of impact from him this year?
Yes, of course. What he does is not coincidence, it's just class. And of course we rely on him, and we hope that he will have a very successful season. And for him, for his career, not only for Arsenal but mainly for him, I wish that he has a year without any injuries, because he deserves it. He's a nice man as well.
What can you tell us about the latest situation with Nicolas Anelka?
The latest is that he will leave, and we have found an agreement with Real Madrid subject to contractual agreements. That means we have to sit together and sign the contract, and as long as that's not done, it's not done.
So do you feel that will be the end of the whole saga in the next couple of days?
Yes, because we have to concentrate on our season and to forget that. And I think what is important is the players who fight for us, and we have to forget that story now.
This afternoon's performance has certainly given a lot of people food for thought, hasn't it?
Yes, that performance showed that Arsenal doesn't depend on one player, but we are a real team, and the real team is always more than one player.
Arsene, many thanks. Well done.
Yeah, very well spoken. Arsene Wenger with Nick Collins. Nigel Winterburn, the skipper today, with the first trophy of the new season. I think he's enjoyed his day out. I wonder if it's something to do with the weather, mine. And there's one that Frank McClintock made earlier. So the Charity Shield is Arsenal's. Manchester United beaten here by 2-1. Lou Macari's with us. I know we promised we wouldn't mention him again, but we've got to briefly. It would appear that the saga is over, that Nicolas Anelka is on his way to Real Madrid.
Didn't miss him, Richard, did they?
No.
They've discovered a new star in Kanu. Absolutely brilliant right throughout the game. I'm surprised he didn't get the man of the match, but it's probably a wonder David Beckham goal that's passed him. He was brilliant, everything he did. First half, he was involved in a move, he had a cheeky back heel, put one of his own teammates in. In the second half, played a part in the goal, took the penalty kick, cool as you like, in the back of the net, turned to the Arsenal crowd, and that's the moment I thought, well, you know, a new star has arrived.
Like Cantona did. Remember, he would wait for the keeper to go. Kanu did that, didn't he?
He did. Cool as you like. I mean, I think he's 20.
23.
23 is he, sorry. 23, I mean, first time, I would imagine first time at Wembley. Put the ball on the spot, picked his spot, cool as you like, back of the net.
Good job he wasn't playing at Villa Park then, eh?
Well, yeah, we wouldn't have got to Wembley.
103 the temperature when they stepped into the arena today. United unbeaten this calendar year, 33 games coming into this match. They might not be counting it, but I'm absolutely certain that the bookings count. Sending off would have done. This was a competitive match. They lost it 2-1. Early signs of some wobbles as well, Lou, at the back. We mentioned it at half-time, and I'm sure we will again during the course of the season.
Yeah, well, Ray Parlour was a threat to United right throughout the game. We haven't mentioned Ray up to now, but he whipped in some wonderful crosses and obviously scored the winning goal, had one that hit the post, and his contribution wide on the right was tremendous. But there were a few anxious moments in United's defence in the first half with those crosses. I just felt, you know, a little bit of indecision between Mark Bosnich and his defence.
And David Beckham, well, magical at different times today. The cross there to admire, the attempt to win the penalty not, and the reaction of Nicky Butt not. Martin Keown furious. They both were booked during this incident. Nicky Butt could have gone, couldn't he, for that?
Well, in a league match that would have been off you go and have an early bath, I'm afraid.
Cole and York smoothly back into the groove for an hour or so.
Yeah, and you know, the game could have gone either way. In the space of 2 minutes, Dwight York had a great chance that he missed, and then a minute later Andy Cole missed a similar, equally as good a chance. On another day, you know, it could have been United in front and they would probably have gone on to win the match. But it was Arsenal's day.
Now, we all knew what was going to happen here. Alex Manninger knew what was going to happen there, but he couldn't do anything about it. David Beckham with United's first. The ball plainly over the line. York, we heard from at half-time, said, yeah, I knew it was too, but he did what a striker should and score. Or at least put the ball back in the net.
If we hadn't seen David Beckham do that on so many occasions, we'd be marvelling over this goal for the for the rest of the year.
Well, we should be, Luke, because
well,
it's a fantastic strike.
But we've seen it so many times, Richard.
So that was 1-0, but Arsenal refused, as Arsenal do, to give up signs as Ray Parlour hit the post. Here's the big fella, look. He's almost one of those that's got it on elastic around his feet, isn't he, the ball?
He's a happy footballer. When you watch him play, he runs about, he looks happy, he scores a goal and obviously shows he's happy.
Total contrast to the guy he's replaced, who I won't name. Now there's the penalty, was it?
Well, Patrick Vieira was a little bit fortunate early on to get away with what could have been a booking, and he would have been sent off because he did dive in the box, and this time, no hesitation. Dennis Irwin was pulling his shirt, but again, funny enough, Patrick decides to dive after Dennis Irwin's let his shirt go. But
you'd have given it?
I would have given it, yes.
And look at that for a penalty. If he'd gone the right way, he wouldn't have got there, would he?
No.
Now this, about an hour into the game, I mentioned it to you at the time, the first evidence of what we've come to admire from Manchester United, well, amongst the many things, they were breaking at pace and they were causing trouble. Up until this point, they hadn't done that, had they?
No, but when it did come, Rich, we saw there a great chance for Dwight York. He's put in with a lovely ball from Andy Cole.
This one from Solskjaer.
Just panicked a little bit. And then 1 minute later, Andy gets in the box and he panics. Reasonable save from Meninga. But on another day, would have been a goal for both players, probably.
It's a horrible American piece of phraseology, but offensively, they'll miss Schmeichel as well, won't they?
Well, without a doubt. I think there was a number of occasions there today where you felt the big fella, if he had already been there, it would have been a little bit different.
Here's the winning goal from Ray Parlour, made by Kanu. Served up on a plate by Kanu. Beautiful ball through, wasn't it?
Lovely. The weight of his pass there. I mean, he's holding the United players off, comes through, lovely little pass into the path of Ray Parlour and into the corner of the net. When I was saying to you earlier in the programme about goalkeepers, how important they can play, that is something that Peter Schmeichel just might have saved that. I'm not saying it was saved,
he was big and he frightened people.
Big. You're coming through and you're facing this big 6 foot fella. No disrespect to Mark Bosch, he hasn't got the presence of a Schmeichel, and that presence just might be missed this season.
And don't worry about whether this is taken seriously or not. Once these two teams get here, it is, isn't it? You want to win it once you've arrived here.
Yeah, I mean, there was 5 bookings. I think that indicated how serious they were taking the game. David Beckham could have been, and probably should have been, sent off. He was in the booking in the second half. Fortunately enough, the referee was lenient, called him over and spoke to him for about 30 seconds.
You thought actually he'd shaped
I did. I thought David Beckham was heading for the tunnel. And I think David Beckham thought he was heading for the tunnel. And as I mentioned earlier, Vieira, he could have gone off as well. So, yeah, it was serious, it was competitive, and it was a good game.
Well, it was all going both Beckham's and Manchester United's way for a while. It was one for Brooklyn to remember, as you will see from the evidence on the boot. Look. And he did his stuff with him as well. Fantastic strike. Great technique. Anywhere else in the world, if we'd seen that on a football programme, you'd be out of your seat, wouldn't you? And you should be, because it's a fantastic.
And he had easier chances after that in the second half from nearer the goal, and either it was deflected off an Arsenal player or he shot wide. And the hardest one of all, he manages to put in the back of the net, and we will say again, he managed to put it in the back of the net.
Yeah. Cole made sure. But as I said at half-time, one of those occasions when you've got to drive the decision. That's Beckham's goal, and so it should be as well. So that's 1-0. United, for the first time, did Martin say, since 1993, in front, but lost. The equalising goal as a result of the penalty. Arsenal had been threatening. Parlour hit the post. Kanu went close. Little tug there. You're right, he went down afterwards, but there was enough of a tug to make it justifiable, wasn't there?
Yeah, and Dennis started to complain to the referee. He made his way to the referee, but then when he got near him, he sort of said to himself, well, I did tug him, so what am I complaining about? And the referee made the right decision.
That's a great kick. That
Brilliant.
Really is. And he had a hand, of course, as we said, in the winning goal for Ray Parlour. Lovely control, brushed people aside. Great ball through. I have to say, looking forward to seeing him this year, Lee, already.
Yes. He's one of those players, Richard, you think is not in control of the ball. And he holds people off, he runs with the ball, you think he's going to fall over it. But he knows what he's doing, and that pass there was lovely, it was lovely weighted in the pass of Ray Parlour, and he, found the back of the net.
Here's Alex Ferguson, sorry to interrupt, he's with Nick Collins.
Well, Alex, was this afternoon's result a reflection of just how close you and Arsenal are?
Well, I think we are close in terms of the last 2 seasons, and it was one of these games which I never felt we were going to lose it, but they got a penalty kick and they got them back in the game, and I think after that they deserved to win it.
How much of a part did the hot weather play? Were the conditions really tough out there?
It definitely has an effect on some players, and probably the pattern of the game or the speed of the game. It tended, I thought, when Arsenal got in front of the last 15, it was difficult for us to get back then. But that's the pre-season, and I think you recognise that players are not 100% fit at this moment in time, and you have to give allowances for it, particularly on such a hot day.
It's a high-profile game, so it's more than a pre-season friendly. That said, is this going to count as a defeat, or are you still unbeaten in your eyes?
Well, a defeat's a defeat, and although we lost this game last year, and I hope the season turns out just as well.
There was a flurry of bookings in the first half. Do you think there's a clear message, perhaps, that referees are going to be very tough on dissent and players talking back at them?
Well, I think I read an article from the guy who runs it, the Referees Association, who's way down the wall, very thinly, and I think that's taken away the personality of the referees. I mean, today you would have thought it was a bloodbath in the first half, and it wasn't one bad tackle in the game. So it doesn't reflect really in a game that's played in the right spirit, nor does it reflect in players who play the game fairly.
All right, Alex, many thanks. Good luck for the season.
Okay.
Reminder, we've got Aberdeen and Celtic tonight. On Wednesday, it's West Ham's bid to play in the UEFA Cup. Next weekend, we're all back in business this season with something extra.
Sky Sports' unrivaled football coverage is back.
Oh my word, would you believe it? It's going to go right to the wire. A turning point in the title race. It really is electric. There's still time. It's all over. It's going to be all over. It's pending. It's
In August alone, we bring you 25 live games, including some nerve-tingling clashes.
This season, we take the coverage even further.
With a new sports channel, Sky Sports Extra on Sky Digital.
It's another first. This new channel brings interactive football to your screens for the very first time.
And this time, you call the shots.
It's the future of digital, here and now, and it's so simple.
Select channel 404, Sky Sports Extra. When the Sky Sports active icon appears, press the red button on your remote to access Sky Sports Active. Once active, you have a menu with 4 options: angle, highlights, replay and stats. Select any of the 4 modes using the left-right arrow buttons. Press the select button to access your option. Watch the game from an alternative angle. If you like to watch the game from behind the goal, you can when you're interactive. Cut away from the normal coverage anytime you want during the game and give yourself an alternative view. The main view remains on the screen at the same time, with up-to-date sports news with the Sky Ticker Tape. Join the game late. Select highlights and you're updated with the best of the action and goals so far. A close call, a great bit of skill. Want to see it again? After watching an incident live, you can select replay to go back 30 seconds and watch it once more. Find out the facts with stats. Select stats and you'll have up-to-the-minute match facts, team lineups, records and trivia. You can call up more information than ever before simply by pressing the corresponding coloured buttons on the remote control. You'll never miss the live action. Press 0 to get back instantly.
Leaves it to Bergkamp. That was a great effort and a marvellous save.
If you need reminding of these steps, press help on your remote control or check out your Sky Digital August TV guide. Sky Sports Extra is free for digital subscribers if you have both Sky Sports 1 and 2. If you wish to add Sky Sports 1 and 2 to your Sky Channels package, call 08702 40 40 40 for more information. Sky Sports Extra makes football viewing even more interesting. It's easy.
It's the future, now on Sky Sports.
It's terrific. Wherever it's happening, whenever it's happening, you'll see it here on the home of football. Big thanks to Lou Macari today. Appreciate it, Louis. Football to come, incidentally. Aberdeen Celtic tonight at 6 o'clock over on Sky Sports 3. John Barnes and Kenny Dalglish in charge for the first time at Celtic. That's tonight from Pittodrie at 6 o'clock. And West Ham's bid to play in the UEFA Cup this season continues Wednesday night. And David Dein, incidentally, has just said that Arsenal have accepted a bid for Nicolas Anelka from Real Madrid. Good. See you next time. Goodbye from Wembley.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. It's not unusual to have fun with anyone. But when I see you hanging about with anyone, it's not unusual to see me cry. I wanna die. It's not unusual to go out at any time. But when I see you out and about, it's such a crime. If you should ever wanna be loved by anyone, it's not unusual, it happens every day. No matter what you say, you'll find it happens all the time. Love will never do what you want to. Why can't this crazy love be more? It's not unusual to be mad with anyone. It's not unusual to be sad with anyone. But if I ever find that you've changed at any time, it's not unusual to find that I'm in love with you. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Michael Nichols, goalkeeper.